Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
You should say that now.
Welcome, everybody. It's draft day. Here we go on the Ultimate Sports Show. I'm with Jason Lloyd and the sleeveless Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull, and we got tons to get to today.
Guns out over here.
There it is. It's draft day. We'll talk about the Cavs. Game 2 victory. We got Earl in the perch. We got Anthony, Mike, and Steve on the other side of the glass. And our title sponsor today is...
It is Living for We. This show is brought to you guys by the award-winning podcast from IdeaStream Public Media, part of the Connecting the Dots Between Race and Health initiative. New episodes drop every other Tuesday, and you can listen for Living for We wherever you get your podcast, Bull.
Thank you. Guys, how we doing? We excited? This is the first... I said this 2 days ago. It's the first... It's the most excited I've been for a draft for a while because the last 3 years they haven't had a first-round pick. The 2 years before that they had late first-round picks and it was COVID.
Yeah.
So it's really been since 2019 since you had this huge excitement. Everybody's going to be together. There'll be a lot of parties, a lot of bar appearances. And we, of course, will be here watching the draft. Jason, myself, Dustin, and G. Bush will be here tonight. Tyvis will be part of the Browns propaganda coverage, so that'll be fun. And sorry, Tyvis, shouldn't have said that. But anyway, you guys excited? Tyvis, you excited to talk to Andrew Siciliano and Andrew Berry? And
and, I like to ask them questions, see where their heads at. It's gonna be a nice night. I think it's me, Ken, and Nathan Zagura for the Browns coverage. So we have Joe Thomas on, so it'll be nice.
So if you want some reality, watch this. If you want a lot of ass kissing, go watch the Browns.
You're unbelievable.
I'm record-breaking, aren't I?
Unbelievable.
It is. I put people in the most awkward spots. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, we got so much to get to today. Let's just dive right in. We're going to start with some draft talk, then get to some Cavs. And our first draft topic of the day is brought to us by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always working. It's always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs come in. When you clock out, LinkedIn is clocking in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with the network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. Here's how it works. Post your job on LinkedIn's new feature, which can help you write descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with a deep candidate insight. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach of qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, guys. Obviously, we're going to talk to Aditi Kinkhabwala. I guess I don't know why that would be obvious. She'll join us at 11:30. She's going to be in Berea today. Jason will be in Berea today also after he's with us for the first hour tonight.
So he's part of the propaganda.
Oh, no.
No, definitely not.
No. I don't think I've ever been associated with propaganda.
There's a lot of things you can bust Jason's balls for. Definitely not propaganda. Would not be one of them. But anyway, so we'll obviously spend a lot of time on the draft. We are going to talk about a good chunk of this first half hour about the Cavs in Game 2. But, guys, let's first start. We've been talking about this draft for months and months. So what are we going to start with? What are the Browns going to do in the draft? We've speculated for months. The speculation ends after today.
For 4 months. That's all we've been. So now the next 4 months can be, well, how are they going to use them?
You know what's crazy?
Yes.
Is that I thought about this waking up this morning. We went from the Browns should absolutely take a quarterback at 2. You're picking that high, you have to take a quarterback.
I never said that.
That's what everybody
said.
Speak for yourself. Now, I didn't say that, but that's what everybody said.
Well, then who's everybody? Because I didn't say it, you didn't say it.
I have said it. I did earlier. I changed my mind.
All right.
You have to take if you're going to pick that high, you have to take a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, Well, you should just take Travis Hunter because he can't miss with that. He got 2 positions and all these things. It's hilarious to me. So I'm ready to get it over with. If you want my official prediction, my official prediction is that the Browns absolutely, positively take Travis Hunter at 2. And I don't think they trade back up. Unless as Shedeur slides, I think they do trade back up.
In fact, I said that this morning on my podcast, that the only way I could see a trade up is if it's so funny because, as you said, we started with Shedeur Sanders being the likely pick at 2, and now I don't know if it's reality or not, but we're convincing ourselves that maybe he'll be there at 33 and we can still get Travis Hunter. The only scenario I could see the Browns possibly trading up is if we get to 27, 28 late in the first round and he's still there maybe. I agree they're going to stay at 33. I agree they're going to take Travis Hunter. I think they will take a quarterback, but not till tomorrow. Jason.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I was going to make a joke, but I'm not going to make a joke.
Travis draft day line.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter no matter what.
I'm not convinced they're taking a quarterback
at 33. Yeah, it's been the thing about it is, as we sit here and we talk about it and we get closer to the thing, I think that if Milroe or Shedeur is there around 33, I think they do go with the quarterback. But if it happens like last year where 4 quarterbacks just go in the first round,
that seems unlikely.
I think so too, but you never know.
What are we basing this on that they like Shedeur? What are we basing this on?
Nothing.
I'm not. I think a worst case scenario for them is that he's there at 33.
Oh, you don't think they want him at all?
And now they got to pass twice on him.
Okay, well.
But, you know what I mean? I don't know that.
That's only a bad scenario if he turns out to be very good.
I just think that we are making a lot of assumptions that they want to move back up and get him, and I have not seen any evidence to support that claim. That's all I'm saying.
So you don't think they're going to trade up? Period.
No,
you think they're
stay I don't think they're going to trade up. Period. And
you don't think they're taking a quarterback at 33?
I don't. They have so many needs to fill on this team. Mm-hmm. Can we agree on that?
Yes. Absolutely.
You could get a marquee player to plug in right now to help you.
Sure.
So if they might, like, if they take Milroe at 33, I'm good. I like Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. But if you're looking at a project quarterback who you're going to have to work with and develop, and again, I keep saying 26. I've said 26 since November.
Yeah.
You go get your quarterback in 26. So if they agree with that, if they think they're getting their quarterback in 26, why would you take a project quarterback at 33?
But how are they going to?
How are you going to know that?
Yeah, how are you going to get the quarterback?
You don't know where you're going to be drafting.
Of course, but again, how many classes is it this bad at quarterback?
Right.
Which is why I've said all along, you got to be bad next year.
All right,
you got to be bad
but
next
they're
year.
not going to be in theory, with Flacco, Hunter, and Jerry Jeudy, your offense should be a lot better.
So now you're going to
maybe a lot is strong. So it'll be better.
So now you're going to start dipping into 27 picks to move up.
Well, yeah.
Either way, you're going to have to move up, which is why if the only way that I think that they move down tonight, and we're probably getting ahead of ourselves, is if they get a pick for next year. That's the only way.
I think that's a mistake because ultimately, and we don't want to get into the 27 draft that long, and we'll move on after this.
I don't even know who's in 27.
But I'm sorry, 26.
You have to attach a 27.
No, I meant 26, not 27. The only thing is, let's say there's 3 good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't care how many first-round picks you have. If the first 3 pick teams drafting need quarterbacks, you're not getting them.
But this year is the anomaly. This year is the weird
but last year was an anomaly, too, to have that many.
It is.
The normal number is 2 to 3.
And they don't always go 1, 2, 3. A lot of times they go 1, 2.
That's true, but if the Browns win 7 games next year, they may not be in a position.
Which is why I've been saying all along they probably shouldn't do that.
Well, that'll be another discussion for another day.
With you, I've never heard of somebody that said, "You know what? We should come in here and sell the season
for 1 year." Yeah, for
they
1 year.
already
Teams
did
do
that
it all the time. No.
The Browns already went through it. They're not doing that again.
That's the mistake. The Browns didn't tank last year. They just
sucked.
No,
they did it when they went 1-31.
Yes, I'm not saying do it for 2 years. I'm saying 1 year.
Well, they're not doing that. They're
not doing
that. They
that.
want to try to change this culture of losing.
I'm about to say, how you gonna tell them you want to change? You want to go? Let's go out there and let's stink this
all
year.
Right, well,
and then you gonna tell me the next year, let's go ahead and let's switch the coach.
All right. Well, no, go ahead and win 7 or 8 games next year, and then tell me how purgatory feels. That's where you're going to be.
That is fair. I mean, it's a catch-22 because you want to change the culture. You got to win some. You can't just keep losing all the time.
But
on the other hand,
they have won some.
Okay, sure, that's true. But they haven't won. They haven't had
won
back-to-back
enough
seasons.
They haven't won enough.
They haven't won enough, and you could tank, sure, but you could still win 6 games, finish with the 7th pick, and that might not get it done.
So now you're attaching future picks to move up.
But again, if
You
the
can move,
teams
teams
ahead
move
of
up all the time, Adam. You
no,
know
they
that.
don't.
Yes, they do.
Not if the teams ahead need
No,
quarterbacks.
teams move up all the time to go get quarterbacks.
But you can't. There's no short thing there. What if next year the Raiders, the Saints, and the Giants all are ahead of the Browns? They all need quarterbacks.
Very possible.
There's 3 good quarterbacks. Again, you just can't go into it assuming you're going to be able to get a quarterback next year.
You don't.
That doesn't mean you draft a quarterback
you know what they
now.
say about assumptions.
Listen, all I'm saying is if this is a bad quarterback draft and they don't like anyone at 2, I think it's a little presumptuous to assume they're going to take one at 33.
That's fair.
That
really,
I
agree with.
That's really the bigger point.
Yes, we're
I ain't got no-
projecting to some degree our feelings that they should take a shot at somebody.
If they don't take a quarterback at 30, I'm good with that. Listen, there's plenty of quarterbacks out there, developmental quarterbacks that you can get, that you can stash on your roster, give them a year. You can go with the Will Howards, the Kyle McCords. You can go with some of those guys.
The lower you go, the less likely the guy is to be a hit.
But they say 2 of the best quarterbacks that ever played in the NFL came in what round? The 6th.
Yeah, but the Browns can't even get their first round pick
the
right.
second
You really
one?
think
Joe
they're going
Montana.
to find one in the 6th? They can't even get their first round picks right.
First of all, was Joe Montana a 6th round pick?
Even a blind
I
squirrel.
don't think that's right.
You would think, but in 25 years, these blind squirrels just keep bumping into the trees, man.
Well, first of all, what round was Joe Montana? You sure about
late.
that?
Yeah. He was
I don't
5th or
remember him
6th.
being a 6th round pick.
He was a 3rd round pick.
3rd round pick,
Okay,
big difference.
excuse me.
I thought he was 50.
He was the
I thought he
82nd
was-
pick in
I
the
thought he
draft.
was
That's a
fifth.
big difference.
You think the Browns are going to find him in the 3rd
No.
round?
And by the way, like everybody, bringing up Brady is the most absurd
I
thing
agree
ever.
with
That's
that.
a once in
I
a
agree with
not even generation.
What about-
That's a once in a lifetime
What about
situation.
Jay's boy, Brock Purdy?
He's okay.
There's 3 quarterbacks since the 2016 draft, so the last 8 drafts,
Yeah.
that have not been first round picks that have gone on to have relative success.
Who's that?
Jalen Hurts, Brock
It's Hurt.
Purdy,
Purdy. Can you name the 3rd?
Dak.
Dak.
There you go.
Yeah. Well,
That's it.
Okay, Dak was a
4th.
Jalen Hurts was a high
Dak
second round
was a
pick, wasn't
4th
he?
round
Maybe it was
pick.
the
Dak was a
52nd
fourth.
pick.
I thought he was a 2nd round.
No.
Dak was 4th and Jalen was 2nd. So, again, that doesn't mean the Browns need to draft a quarterback at 2. If they, I mean, in the 2nd round, if they don't think any of them are any good, don't waste a pick on any of them.
With Flacco and Pickett on this roster, if you take a quarterback at 33, he's not playing. At least not right away.
No, definitely not.
I guess that's the larger point.
I mean,
I think we're making a lot of presumptions.
What quarterback at 33 would you, outside of Cam Ward, what quarterback are you expecting to come in and play right away anyway?
None.
That's smart.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right, let's leave it there for now. Plenty of draft talk coming up. Let's get to the Cavs who won game 2 last night.
They did, and we're going to break that down. 2 different segments on the Cavs today. The first one is brought to us by Game Time. There's nothing like the energy of a Major League Soccer match. The chants, the atmosphere, the last-minute goals. If you want to experience it all live, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever with last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying all kinds of tickets, and the prices actually drop the closer games get to starting, and Ant has the cheapest get-in price on Game Time right now to Game 3 between the Miami Heat and Cleveland Cavaliers if you happen to be in South Beach this weekend. Ant?
If you're in Miami, you can go see it for $41.
$41. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Cavs win it, guys, 121-112, game 2. It was not a great effort necessarily. Darius and Evan Mobley played really well in the first half. DeAndre Hunter bounced back, had a decent game offensively. And Donovan Mitchell, obviously, like Ty Jerome did in game 1, took over in the final 6 minutes to lead the Cavs to victory. But, Jason, I'll start with you. It was a weird game because the Cavs felt completely in control for 2.5, some odd quarters. And then they just, I don't know, they were
got
terrible.
cold from Trey.
It was a 2-point game with like 6 minutes to go. That was weird.
Part of that is Miami. Like, this is why we keep saying
They're a pain in the ass.
This is not a normal 8 seed. This is a very.
They're not even an 8 seed. They're a 10 seed.
But this is a very unique team.
Yeah.
And they've got.
Spoelstra.
I mean, Spo's not the best coach in the league. He's top 2 or 3. Like,
Yes.
he's excellent. And I think last night sort of demonstrated that Miami doesn't have the pieces to win this series, but they sort of are showing teams how to beat the Cavs 4 times. I just don't know that. outside of Boston, there's nobody in the East capable of beating them 4 times. But when the Cavs make their threes and they close out possessions defensively, they are almost impossible to beat. But for about a 10-minute stretch from the end of the third quarter into the late fourth quarter, they were out rebounded like 18-3. They couldn't grab a rebound. That can't happen.
Yep.
With Jared Allen and Evan Mobley on the court, and that's how Miami got back in the game. It was the rebounding. It was both offensive and defensive end, holding the Cavs one possession and out, creating second chance opportunities for themselves. So when that happens, teams can sort of fight back in. And it was funny because I was watching the game with Brian Windhurst yesterday, and he said, like, it's amazing actually that Miami's kept us within 20 because the Cavs were so dominant. And right after he said that is when 19 became 13, became 11. All of a sudden it's 10 going to the fourth, and then they get it down to a one-possession game. But, Donovan, all credit to Donovan for that fourth quarter performance. To do what he did, I thought was really, when you talk about a guy, we've said all year that he's taken a step back this year. Mm-hmm. He's allowed other guys to sort of grow and flourish. He's played less minutes. And yet, when they need him, when you got to have him, he's there, and he delivered. 17 in the fourth, 30 for the game. Just a really incredible performance, I thought, by him because, again, for a while, the Cavs' offense was always, we'll give it to Donovan, get out of the way. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not the case anymore. But yet, when you got to break the glass, he's the hammer. Yeah. And that was a really impressive performance.
I complained to Mike on text yesterday that I didn't understand why Kenny Atkinson waited so long to get Mitchell back. He said, well, he's been waiting to check in, but there was no stoppage of play. Well, why not call a timeout? You had 2 timeouts left.
I don't know. It depends. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't think you want to waste the timeout with 5.5 minutes left. When
you're winning, and the team but if they couldn't do anything offensively.
If it's a 2-possession game at that point, you're going to need those timeouts at the end. It depends on what.
You're right.
It depends on. I don't know where the text was. Where the sequence of the game.
I think it was like
he was out. His normal rotation is he sits for like 3 minutes in the middle of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it became like a 4.5-minute stretch in the fourth quarter where Cora was on the court and Merrill was out there instead of Mobley.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't understand why those guys are on the court with 4 minutes.
Instead of calling a timeout, you could intentional foul.
Yeah,
whatever.
Tell Cora to foul somebody.
I'd rather do that than call a timeout there.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, fine.
In fairness to Kenny, whatever rest Donovan got during that stretch, he came out after on fire and had an absolutely incredible. Steve, you want to take these highlights full. I mean, his fourth quarter performance is why you pay a guy like that. That is an elite closer in a playoff scenario that went shot for shot and outshot Miami, frankly, by himself in the fourth.
That boy was.
Yeah, but all right, I don't want to harp on it that big deal. But the rest of the guys, like Darius and Evan, played great in the first half, and they both kind of disappeared in the second half.
Hey.
The whole offense, not just those two.
There will be no Darius slander today.
I mean, listen. You can get away with these B and C efforts against Miami, but the deeper you go into the playoffs, you can't get away with that. They've got to get better.
He had 21 and 9. Darius did.
I don't know what to tell you. Do you think the Cavs played an A game yesterday?
I think in the second half, the last 3 minutes of the third quarter is where things kind of got away from them.
Right.
Into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And really good elite championship teams. I was talking to somebody in the locker room about this. That it was a great point. Don't have 10-minute stretches. It may be 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes.
Sure.
And then whether it's, I hate always using LeBron, but LeBron or Steph can pull it back in and it's time to lock back in. You can have a 3 or 4 minute stretch, but teams that don't quite at that level, it goes on a little bit longer, and that's really, I think, one of the next steps in the Cavs' progression and all this. They're still not a finished product. They've never made a conference finals. They're still learning this. Yes, they won a series last year. Okay, they got one playoff win. That's it, one series. So they are still sort of figuring this out too. And you can't have 10-minute stretches where it gets away from you.
Right.
3 or 4 minutes, every team goes through that in these situations.
And you can get away with a 10-minute stretch against Miami.
Yes.
But you can't beyond that.
No, not with
not even against
Boston.
Indiana. You're not going to get away.
Indiana can score.
Yeah.
So,
Is that who we play next round?
Well, assuming Milwaukee doesn't come back. Go ahead, Tyvis. You don't seem as I wouldn't say I'm concerned. I just don't love how they
21-9.
No, not just Darius. I just mean the team as a whole. Like,
no, I understand what you're saying as far as you be up that much and then you let them come back.
Yeah.
But listen, basketball is a game of runs, and
but the regular season is one thing.
I get the fact that yes, at some point somebody got to stand up, and Donovan did. Donovan was the guy who obviously when he wasn't on the court is when this stretch started to take off like that to begin with. So you gotta, I agree, you gotta expedite getting him back on the court, but other guys got to step up in those big moments and make some shots as well. It can't just be Donovan. Is what it's doing is it's falling slowly back into what last year's playoff was, where it became give me the ball and y'all just get out the way and I'll figure it out.
No, I don't think it's going back
it did last night.
Well, they needed
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So if they continue to do this, that's what's going to happen. He's going to think to himself, all right, I gave y'all all the chances to show me and trusted y'all. Y'all letting me down, so forget it. I win this series by myself. I don't want him to have that. So they got to lock back in for game 3, and guys got to step up. You need the Ty Jeromes to come off the bench. Obviously, Hunter had a better game. You need all those pieces to continue to contribute. And for Kenny, he's got to realize, all right, if it's been a certain amount of time where we are slow or something, you're right. You got to get a foul, call a timeout. You got to hit a reset button at some point to stop this because being up 19 and then making it a 2-point game. Don't get me wrong, Tyler Herro was playing out of his mind. He was hitting some shots. And who is Highsmith?
Hayward Highsmith.
I've never heard of the guy. The dude hit like 5 threes last night. I'm like,
and the Heat completely changed their lineup. Like they had started Alec Burks the first game. He didn't play last night. They used that. There was some European guy that played yesterday.
Jovic.
Then that Davion Mitchell
there was another guy. There was another European guy.
Oh, Pele, Larson.
Right. And so he just used like some different guys, and they play hard, obviously. And Mitchell, Mitchell was Davion
Mitchell.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy's a major pain in the butt.
Yeah, he's great.
Strong.
He was great last night.
He was
He
beating
liked
guys up.
Donovan. He liked Donovan as far as size.
They wear the same number. They're both D. Mitchell. He says it's a coincidence.
Okay.
They're not related.
Right.
But my big takeaway from yesterday, real quick, and I'm curious what you guys think. In the third quarter, so the second quarter they go crazy. They made 11 threes in the second quarter. That's a playoff record, not for Cleveland, for the entire NBA. It's the most threes ever made in a single quarter in NBA history.
Those records don't mean anything to me because
back in the
It's a
day,
it
12
is so different now. Those
I'm
records.
just saying it's a 12-minute
I
quarter.
hear
You
you.
make
think
11
about like
threes.
the
It was
Golden
good.
State.
It was a great quarter.
Yeah,
and
Golden
all these,
State.
Like
Fair
that
enough.
is
But like
impressive.
it's a 10-year record essentially. But okay, go ahead.
So they make all those shots in the second quarter. Then the third quarter, they go ice cold. And into the fourth quarter, they go ice cold. And in my opinion, they let their offense have too much of an impact on their defense. Kenny said it after the game.
Yeah, it's true.
You're going to regress back to the mean. Like, you're not going to shoot 11 of 13 from 3 again. You're going to miss your shots. For the game, they shot 48.9% from 3. That's a damn good shooting performance out of 45 attempts. As a team, they just used half of their makes in one 12-minute stretch, and the other 11 makes were spread out over 36 minutes. When they're not making shots, they can't let their defense slide. Like, if you're not making shots, fine. You're going to go through stretches where shots aren't falling. What you can't happen is then have these mental lapses, and I don't want to say lack of effort, but lack of focus and not rebounding and giving second possessions. You can't let just because your offense isn't working to the level you expect that your defense then slides, because if your offense isn't working, how do you get that getting back into rhythm? You get stops, you get rebounds, you get out in transition. They let their offense impact their defensive effort or intensity or whatever I'm not sure what the right word
I think lack of effort was fair. I mean, when you get destroyed, as Jason mentioned, in that stretch and on the glass, I mean, that is a lack of effort.
Yes.
Yeah, there's points where, like, sometimes the ball's going to carry them funny. There's nothing you can
Sure,
do with that.
yeah.
But there were times where it felt like Jared and Evan were pushed off their spots. That can't happen.
No.
But we said that in the regular season when it was a stretch. Remember they went on that 4-game losing streak and they kept getting
they were rebounding poorly in that stretch. Yeah,
it'd be little stuff like, oh, don't worry about it, they cleaned it up. No, it'd be creeping back into them playoffs.
All right, well,
it's not like we ain't seen it before.
Let's see them do a better job of it. Game 3 Saturday, hopefully. But one other thing, guys, I'm curious. Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade.
He hit that tray like I told y'all he was when he told y'all Isaac get his next 3, he gonna cash.
Those two guys played
1 for 12.
I don't care.
Those two guys didn't play a lot of minutes. Are we getting close to the point where those two guys don't play at all?
Who?
in the next series. The deeper you go, the more you cut your rotation.
Will those guys play at all against Indiana or Boston?
Yep.
The way it's trending, not against Boston. The way it's trending.
Yeah.
Indiana, I think yes they would because of the pace Indiana plays with. Boston, they got to start doing more to earn minutes against.
Yeah, right. I mean, to me, and listen, I don't know the intricacies of defense and how well they're playing. To me, they both seem completely useless on the floor right now.
Well, I mean, Isaac has to make shots to stay on the floor because what he provides defensively is not enough.
Right.
It's just not. The way that this team is built, the way the playoffs are now. That's why Sam Merrill's played more minutes than DeAndre Hunter in this series.
Right, because he makes shots. He's making shots.
Because he's making shots.
And he's working hard on defense. How good is he?
He's good enough.
Working hard.
He's good enough.
He's good enough to stop a fast break and shoot a three.
Isaac's defense and his offense does not equal Sam's offense and his defense.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
So Sam's going to take those minutes. Dean, I don't know, man. Kenny said that the reason he got into Dean in game one was he said he probably didn't go after a rebound. He didn't get a rebound.
Yeah.
When Dean's out there, he has to rebound again. Going back to the rebounding, Dean is much better defensively than he gets credit for. He should be a good rebounder with his size, and he's a good 3-point shooter. But it just hasn't translated in ever. In the playoffs.
I mean, he's just early in the season, he's so impactful.
I'm telling you, all year long, I said I thought their best lineup was Dean at the 3.
Right.
Dean starting at the 3. I love that line before the DeAndre trade.
Right.
I love that lineup. And Mike and I did a Cavs show.
Yeah.
I don't remember what day it was now. And Mike had some numbers on Dean in the playoffs that were horrendous.
Terrible.
So, yeah, I don't think, barring injuries, I don't think Dean's playing against Boston, which is a shame because
injuries or foul trouble or
What's crazy too, though, real quick on Dean is against Boston, like size-wise, he might be their best matchup against Tatum.
Yeah,
like seriously, he's as good of an option they have defensively with the size, the length, the way he plays. But I don't know how you put him in there right now.
I mean, and the problem is going to be. I think DeAndre, we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but for 30 seconds, I think DeAndre needs to start against Boston. I don't like Max Strus in that role.
Yeah.
Right. Max will probably start game one. What's that?
We've been said that.
Yeah. So if they make that move, and they may not because of this reason, if you can't play Dean and DeAndre's in your starting lineup, who's your other big? Like, you have no size whatsoever after Jared and Evan in that instance. Now you might be counting on Tristan. My
God!
So
it's a serious thing. Jason is not just saying stuff to say stuff right now. It's a legitimate concern.
So for that reason, so now you've got yourself in a jackpot of, if you try and switch everything, you're going to have Max on Porzingis possibly.
Again, we saw how that worked the first time, Jason.
Yeah.
What happened to Porzingis yesterday? By the way,
he caught an elbow. He's fine, but he caught an elbow
on a switch. Yeah. Defensively.
Oh, that's a bucket every time.
That's why I think DeAndre needs to start against Boston. But we're getting way ahead
of
ourselves.
Celtics, by the way, won against Orlando without Tatum. Jaylen Brown had like 40 points or something.
I mean, Tatum got hurt in game one, and Porzingis got his head split open like a pumpkin.
Mike said he's fine, though.
He had like a big Band-Aid on his face.
That was more than a Band-Aid. That was like a
great picture.
That was a 10.
Speaking of great pictures, real quick, there's two things. Aditi just texted me, said she's running a minute behind, so we got another second on this. Kenny challenged a call. Steve, don't take it yet.
Oh.
Kenny challenged a call. And
I missed this live. Did you see it live?
I didn't see it live, but the video clip is one of the greatest video clips ever. Someone tweeted, I think it was Tony Pesta. If it wasn't Tony, I apologize. But he said, I've never seen a coach posterize a referee before, like a dunk. This is as close to human history as a coach posterizing a referee on a challenge.
Okay, but set it up first, the context of what the call was.
I don't even know.
All right.
I texted Paul. I couldn't figure out what it was.
The call was, I believe, it was the foul call on Jarrett that was overturned.
Right. So at that point, I was in the auxiliary.
Tyler Herro kind of jumped into him.
Kind
of unnatural move.
Jared didn't touch him.
No.
And they called him for a foul. Evan on the court, Evan was like, are you kidding me?
They're right.
I believe that's what this was.
All right, so this is the reaction Kenny had to that then, Steve.
Did
disgust
Donovan
in
tweet this out today?
That is his best New Jersey
Donovan
look right
tweeted it
there.
out. That is Long
He's like,
Island
"You
to a T.
bleeping idiot."
Yep.
It is perfect.
By the way, I know this is not the first time. The replay procedure in the NBA is so bad.
Why? Because it takes so long?
It takes forever.
It's the same.
What
way
is happening
the
here?
NFL looks like that too.
No, in the NFL, well, and it should be cleaned up in both, but it's worse in the NBA.
Baseball's actually the fastest.
Way better.
Yeah.
Why is there not some... I don't understand with these leagues. They have so much money. Why is there not a replay official immediately looking at it? Don't send the two dopey refs on the court to go look at it. It takes forever. And the whole challenging fouls things is weird because it's you know, some of these calls, it's like, that was so ticky-tack, but technically, letter of the law, it's a foul, and guys may not want to overturn their calls. Have an independent guy on. If the call can't be changed in 30 seconds, if it's too close to call, keep it, move on, let's go.
No.
These challenges take 3 minutes.
Not in the playoffs.
It kills the momentum of the game.
Not in the playoffs.
Sucks.
All right, while we're waiting for Aditi, I just want to give Donovan one more, just another little ounce of appreciation for what he did in the fourth quarter last night. Jason, you've seen a ton of very impressive fourth quarter performances at not just Cavs games, but across your basketball covering career. To see Donovan, who went 6 of 8 for 17 points, including all four, of the Cavs' final buckets before that last Garland tip-in with 20 seconds left. Where does that stack up among the he just put the team on his back in the biggest of big moment situations for you? It's obviously not a LeBron Game 7.
Yeah, I'm not putting that on any list. Because
from 17 to the fourth in a playoff game.
It's the first round. I mean,
it's still a playoff game.
What did Kyrie do against the Spurs when LeBron fell off?
That was regular season.
Was that regular season?
Yeah, he scored like 55 that game.
He had 55.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, honestly,
in the playoffs, okay, all right.
That doesn't make my top 5 list.
We got to stop with trying to like knock LeBron or the championship team off.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
You did.
I did. No, it's fake news, Bull.
No,
But he's trying to say that Donovan Mitchell is the best Cavalier ever.
I don't want to make it. I don't want to dismiss what he did. Donovan was great last night. He was terrific. He was everything they needed. But a first round matchup with 17 in the fourth, I'm not going to put that on some list. I'm not going to canonize that on some list of NBA postseason.
I'm not even sure it was better than what Ty Jerome did in Game 1.
You gotta cut that out.
What did Ty have? He had 28 for the game.
28
Mike, I don't even think it was better than what Ty Jerome did in Game 1.
No, 17 was more impressive than Ty Jerome in Game 1. I love Ty Jerome, but
Ty Jerome didn't have 18 in the fourth quarter?
He had 16. But it also was a blowout at that point. Donovan hit shot after shot.
It was not a blowout when he started getting hot. It was like a 6-point game.
And then it got to 14, and then he scored, and it became 15. Donovan was doing it when Miami cut it back to 2.
Poo-pooing Ty Jerome.
And cut it back to, listen, no one loves Ty more than me. Maybe Earl does, but come on. Don't make it seem like I'm anti-Ty.
I mean,
you are big on Sam Merrill. That's who your guy is.
Soon we're going to be hearing, is Darius Garland better than Kyrie Irving?
I would put Donovan's...
Don't do that.
I'd put Donovan's 70 game above last night. And that was a regular season. That was I've never seen anything like that.
But it was impressive, obviously, with Donovan.
He was ramping up in that game, too.
What he did
we got
last night
our
was
guest who's going to join us here from the NFL draft in Green Bay after a quick
she's in
word
Green
from
Bay.
Fan.
I don't know why I thought you said she was in Berea, but I was obviously
she's in
wrong
Green
about
Bay.
that.
He did say she
was in Berea.
He did or I did?
No, he did. Mike did. Because I
she's
thought,
in Green Bay.
wow, that's weird.
Well, we're going to bring in Aditi after a quick word from FanDuel, wherever she comes from. The NBA playoffs are here, guys, and you could get in on the action because FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to make money early on. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in Aditi Kinkhabwala from an undisclosed hotel room somewhere in Northeast America. What's up, Aditi?
Why would I be in Berea? Travis Hunter is here in Green Bay.
That's true. I have no idea why you'd be in Berea, but that's the propaganda that Mike was spreading. By the way,
how many times you say propaganda?
I'm a big propaganda guy.
That's at least 4.
I'm overusing propaganda, apparently, Aditi. I've now said it 5 times, including that. By the way, is there a medical team? Like, there cannot be a vegetarian restaurant in Green Bay, Wisconsin. How are you going to eat your entire time in Green Bay?
I've been fine. I had a great Italian meal last night. Lots of spaghetti, a lot of bread and olive oil, salad. It was the only meal I ate all day because of the live shots and such. I've been eating a lot of granola bars.
Good.
I pack nuts. Yeah. But I appreciate your caring.
I did.
You know what was really cool, though? How about this? Not that I'm saying that I had this. That was a little funny of a reach. So, as you know, when the draft was in Cleveland, it's a great opportunity for NFL cities to show off their city beyond just the stadium, which is what fans see every single week. Yeah. So Green Bay did this tremendous thing where 9 local breweries got together, made so here are the 9 breweries.
Yeah.
They made a very special original recipe beer, this IPA. You could only buy it last night at the Music Fun Festival.
Yeah.
Starting on the 26th, you could buy it at these breweries. They made apparently only 50 or 60 barrels, and that's it. Like, what a great idea. It's the official beer of the Draft City Music Fest.
That is very cool.
Why did Cleveland do that? Yeah.
I don't know.
And it wasn't bad. Like, you'd think, does it taste like something like 9 different beers mixed together? I'm not an IPA person, but I will tell you it wasn't bad.
Apparently, Aditi's getting hammered in Green Bay. All right. Speaking of very... I'm kidding. Speaking of very special...
Just what I need my children to hear.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. Aditi's family, I'm joking. You mentioned Travis Hunter. Obviously, we're all convinced now that the Browns are going to take him at 2. Is there any chance that does not happen today?
Of course. I think there's a chance of anything. I mean, this draft from 4 through 20, you've basically got a bunch of players that are pretty much equivalent. I think that Daniel Jeremiah is the person who actually said this, my former colleague at the NFL Network, that this is a draft of starters, not stars. There's one bona fide superstar in this draft, and that's Travis Hunter. So up until now, nobody has packaged anything to convince Andrew Berry and the Browns brass to move down when they've got essentially a surefire thing in either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, as they may view it. But someone could get desperate and do so, and then you never know what's going to happen. And that's, in fact, what Hunter said to me yesterday. He said, I'm not banking on anything. You never know what's going to happen. But I was on the air maybe 6 weeks ago saying that I loved the idea of Abdul Carter, that I love the idea of pairing Abdul Carter with Myles Garrett, that you could terrorize quarterbacks for the future, that in the AFC, you absolutely have to be able to make quarterbacks uncomfortable. But as time has passed, I've really come to sort of believe and hope, I guess, that the pick is Travis Hunter. I really like this young man. I was just talking to a general manager this morning who was saying to me that this is truly an old soul, an old school football player. He is obsessed with the game. He doesn't do much beyond football and fishing. He said watching an occasional YouTube. He has great discipline. He's graduating with what he said was he believes is a 3.9 GPA. He knows how to study. He knows how to be an intellectual. Kevin Stefanski talked about this yesterday, that this is a unique man who could indeed learn both sides of the ball. And I think that the Browns desperately need a playmaker. And if you're riding with Kenny Pickett this season as your quarterback, hoping that he has a Sam Darnold type renaissance, a Baker Mayfield, a Geno Smith, get to a new place and be better, be different, then okay, great. But if not, you've still got someone who can add a level of dynamism to your offense, perhaps give something to your defense as well, and who will be a great culture driver in your locker room. I promise you that. So again, sort of as someone who is around the team a lot and wanting the team to do well and have a certain energy, I like the possibility of this being the pick.
I'm glad that you said that, Aditi, because Jason thinks that the Browns should tank the season for a quarterback next year. But speaking of quarterback,
what does that have to do with taking Travis Hunter?
You can talk about it later. Anyways, speaking of quarterback,
you know what? But this is, I'm just going to interrupt for a minute. Wait. Let me interrupt for a minute. Fans and the media will talk about tanking, but there is no player that loves the game of football or cares about his work product that's ever buying into that. I was in New England last year when it was Joe Milton starting for the Patriots, and everybody's saying, oh, the Patriots should lose to the Bills and get the number 1 overall pick, and who knows what Bob Kraft wanted. It didn't matter. The coaching staff knew that it was out the door, but Joe Milton was auditioning for a job. Joe Milton was playing for his future. You think he's laying down to tank? It's just like it.
No, but they would have been better
Jason, I love you, but it's such an irrelevant storyline.
But
like,
you're
players
right.
don't do that.
But the Patriots still would.
Players don't, but teams think that way. Absolutely, they have to.
Yeah, and if players aren't on board, or if Lovie Smith isn't on board and wants to give a parting shot on the way out the door, yeah, I don't. Players and coaches, that's not the way they're wired.
Aditi, you got a chance to talk to Cam Ward. What is it about him that stood out to you that makes him special? And do you think he can turn the Tennessee Titans around?
I was talking to my buddy Ramon Foster, who's on the radio in Tennessee and does the Titans radio this morning, and we had this long conversation, and he was essentially asking the same question. I really, really like this young man's demeanor, and I like that he hasn't always been a superstar. When he was in high school, he barely passed the ball even 10 times a game. So he tells me yesterday that from that experience he brings to the NFL, it doesn't matter how you win, just that you win. You do whatever it takes to win. Then he goes to football championship subdivision, the University of the Incarnate Word. There he learns how to throw the ball. He's a gunslinger. He takes off. But again, he doesn't necessarily have great talent around him. He learns how to elevate the people that he does have around him. And then he goes to Washington State. He said that's where he really learned that you invest in your teammates, that you learn about people. He said that's something that I know is really important now. And then, of course, at Miami, he finally had that stage. He had better talent around him. But still, every single offensive coach or scout that I've spoken to has said there's still so much untapped potential. In Brian Callahan, you have a great quarterback coach, a guy that's worked with everyone from Peyton Manning to Joe Burrow. These two men have similar demeanors. The way that they look at the game in an academic, intellectual way, I think will really pair well together. I'm excited. I think that Cam Ward, as a young man, as a human being, has the discipline to really want to improve and try to improve. And let's see what the Titans can do with him. You hope that they can support him. I think that's the most important thing with a young quarterback, that you need to have something around him and not put everything on his shoulders.
How confident are you that the Browns take a quarterback with their second pick, regardless of where that pick winds up being?
Yeah, I don't know that it's the second pick. They'll take one in this draft, as they should. I think it remains to be seen. They certainly have the capital to trade back into the first round. Do they do that? They pick first on the second day. If they don't, do they do that? There are quite a few quarterbacks that have varied suitors. And what I mean by that are... I've heard from a lot of people. I've heard from people who really like Jalen Milroe. I just talked to a GM this morning who said that he thinks he's got the highest ceiling in this quarterback class. There are people that think there are interesting traits about Will Howard. I don't know. I can't speak to where the Browns are ranking the quarterbacks. It would be cool if Andrew Berry would clue me in on that. Of course, if he did, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you, but he hasn't, so I don't know. I don't know. I said this earlier, though. If I'm the Browns, take a shot. Go take a shot on Jalen Milroe. I mean, I just think that this kid is an elite athlete. Not this kid, I'm sorry. This young man is an elite athlete. He's obviously one of the most dynamic athletes in the draft. He does have a really strong arm. Again, we heard about the high ceiling. Let's see what you can do. Tommy Reese knows him. Tommy Reese knows him well, so... He's a boomer bust prospect, but you got to take a chance. At some point, you have to take chances.
I am on Team Milroe. I'm with you. Go ahead.
Y'all aware that Tommy Reese benched him?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we all knew that.
That doesn't mean.
But that.
I just wanted to just throw that out there to make sure we all knew that.
But again, You know what? Joe Burrow was benched for Dwayne Haskins, and look at what he's turned into.
Whoa.
Is that not true?
Don't do that.
Aditi just got you.
Let me ask you: is that not accurate? Is that not an accurate
Urban Meyer should have been fired for that.
No, because if you really want to be fair, Dwayne Haskins had a better season than Joe Burrow's first season at LSU.
Okay, so the whole point here is that
decision.
people develop at different rates. People get different coaching. It's why Sam Darnold was labeled a bust and then had a monster year. It's why I refuse to give up on Kenny Pickett, because I know how unbelievably dysfunctional the world in Pittsburgh was around him in that building. So I think that even though Jalen Milroe may not have been ready at that point when Tommy Rees benched him, he may be a different prospect right now. From what I've been told, now I was not around him in the same way, but from what I've been told about people who have evaluated him, who get paid way more than I do to evaluate him, he is a very hard worker and he is very driven. And I think that's extremely important. So let's see. Everybody matures at a different rate.
Aditi, you know how obsessed I am with the quarterback position as much as anybody. And I like Jalen Milroe. I'm with you. I would take him, but I would, believe it or not, even though I'm usually whatever it takes to get a quarterback, I would not trade up. I just feel like I like Jalen Milroe because of what you said and what that GM said. He's got the highest upside, which makes sense because if you could find a way to coach out the problems of his accuracy on the short passes, then maybe he could become something special. But there's also a chance he never is anything in the NFL, and I don't love the idea of giving up assets, maybe even a first-round pick next year for a lottery ticket, which he might be.
Yeah, but I don't think it would take that much, A. And B, that's why the draft is about risk.
That's true.
How well do you read what the teams ahead of you are going to do, what the teams behind you are going to do? Is someone going to trade up or not? That's why, I mean, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. So maybe you don't. Maybe you don't trade back into the first round. Maybe you wait and you see what happens in the second round. Maybe you don't do anything and see if he's there in the third round.
Yeah.
Again, this is why Andrew Berry makes way more money than I do. Let him take on that risk.
Fair enough.
We just get to talk about it, right?
All right, let's talk about your guy, Kenny Pickett. You mentioned him a couple of times here. It's interesting. When the Browns signed Joe Flacco, to me it was a no-brainer that Joe Flacco was going to start. But you just said, hey, if Pickett's starting, and yesterday, or I don't know, yesterday we had Mary Kay on. She also thinks that there's a good chance Kenny Pickett.
I'm in that camp as well.
Jason also. So there's three of you that think Kenny Pickett starts. I don't see it.
I think there's a good chance.
Okay.
I'm not declaring him the starter. I think Aditi's probably declaring him the starter.
Are you declaring him, or you?
No. I think that the likelihood is that he is the starter. I think that even if they go out there splitting reps to start and they start a competition, I believe that Kenny will win that competition. But I do believe that the expectation, I think there's a good chance. Let's just say this. I think there's a good chance that Kenny Pickett is the starter and that Joe Flacco will be an absolute wonderful support to him in a million different ways, and that Joe Flacco will be ready should something happen. But again, let's see it play out. I don't think, but again, I'm saying I think it's a good chance that Kenny is the starter. I don't think Joe was signed to be the starter.
Yeah,
and again, maybe, who knows? Maybe Jalen Milroe comes in there and they do something with his footwork and his arm angle, and all of a sudden he lights things up and he ends up being the starter. I don't think that that's happening. But again, you never know. This is why this is silly season. It's all crazy speculation. I literally said this to a coach this morning. Can these kids just get picked and then can we talk about them?
Never going to happen. That's why football's the monster it is. That we talk about it for 3 months. All right, last thing on Shedeur Sanders. We started draft season, the silly season, 3 months ago. Shedeur Sanders was one of the guys we were talking about going to. Now you're hearing maybe he doesn't even go in the first round. Jason made, I think, a good point saying, hey, we don't even know that the Browns are interested even at 33. Do you think if let's say we're to pick 27, 28, we're past Pittsburgh, we're towards the end of the first round, and Cam Ward is the only quarterback off the board. Whether it's the Browns or somebody else, do you think there'll come a point where somebody will trade for Shedeur Sanders? Or do you think he could actually make it to the second round?
I think he could make it to the second round. But the 21st pick is very interesting to me. Does Mike Tomlin take him?
What do you think?
I think it's possible.
I think yes.
I think
Think so?
I think
I think the Steelers should. I think that you build a team from the line of scrimmage out. I think the Steelers, even though you don't draft for need, I think that defensive tackles will be available. Good game-affecting defensive tackles will be available there. I think that's what the Steelers should do. But what the Steelers should do is not always what they do. And it's a Mike Tomlin decision. And I can very easily see Mike Tomlin selecting Shedeur Sanders.
Go ahead, Mike.
Aditi, I got one before we got to let you go here. But Jordan Schultz, literally just a minute ago, tweeted this out. I'm curious your thoughts on this. Jordan says, 2 Browns players believed to be available via trade entering the draft tonight are cornerback Greg Newsome and defensive end Agbo Okoronkwo. Aditi, do you expect the Browns to make any deals tonight involving a veteran player to potentially pick up some extra ammo in the draft and or move up?
Do I expect? Anything is possible. I mean, that's the I can't put a percentage on it, but I do think that it is indeed possible.
I think those are more tomorrow moves than tonight.
Yeah, I don't. Those guys aren't getting your first picks.
Those are not impacting first round decisions.
I said the other day Greg Newsome was going to get traded.
Well, he was at the Cavs game last night, and me and Spencer German joked it could be his last night in Cleveland.
Could be.
Might as well spend.
Has he unfollowed the Browns? Has he unfollowed the Browns the way George Pickens has unfollowed the Steelers?
He did? Yeah. Why did he unfollow the Steelers?
He's
such a baby,
because Jordan Schultz reported that the Steelers are taking calls on George Pickens. So somebody go check Greg Newsome's
he is
Instagram,
still following the Browns. I can't confirm.
You can figure that out that quickly. There you go.
Who cares? The fact that we've been reduced to chasing players' social media accounts just nauseates.
Oh my God, chasing general managers' children's social media accounts. Did you guys see Joe Shane's son is tweeting about? Is posting on Instagram about Jackson Dart, and that turned into a whole thing.
By the way, for the record, to wrap it up, for a year people have been saying the Giants did the wrong thing letting Saquon Barkley walk, and for a year everybody that said that is wrong.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it? Okay.
Why? Because just because Saquon Barkley helped the Giants would have sucked equally with Saquon Barkley. They would have still been terrible.
Wanted more.
That's my point. I'm sorry.
Well, to be fair, you're right, Adam.
Yeah.
Saquon doesn't necessarily have the same season behind the Giants' offensive line, with the Giants' wide receivers, with the Giants' quarterback play.
Yes.
So is he a truly dynamic, wonderful player? Of course he is.
Yes.
But he's not having the same year, and you can look at players everywhere like that. If we're going to stick with running backs, let's talk about Le'Veon Bell. He was never the same running back once he left the Steelers' offensive line, Big Ben and Antonio Brown.
Fair enough.
So the Giants take Ashton Genty tonight at 3.
That would be funny if that happened.
Not seeing that happen. All right,
Didi, where are we watching? Guys. Where are we watching you during the draft? Like, what's going on? What are you doing exactly?
I'll be on CBS Sports HQ all day long, and then we'll have a ton of interviews on all of our platforms: TV, streaming, digital, social.
All right,
wherever you can watch CBS.
All right, great stuff. Enjoy.
Bye, guys.
We'll see
Thanks
you later.
for having me.
You got it, Aditi Kinkhabwala. Always great chatting with her.
Always enjoy. We miss Aditi. We haven't had her on in a while. Always fun to have Aditi on the show. All right, guys, we're going to run through some draft rumors, figure out if it's cap or no cap next. This next segment, though, brought to you by Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all of your accounts, investments, and spendings in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. And if you use promo code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com, you get 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year.
Remember, folks, tonight, a special live draft edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We will be on from 8 till about 10. Do not miss it. We plan to set records in terms of viewers. We will instantly react. We have the TV right here to my left. We will be watching the draft with you. When the Browns make their pick, we will instantly react to it. It'll be Jason, Dustin, G. Bush, and myself here. Jason will be here for the first hour. Then he'll go to Berea. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll react to the other picks from the other teams.
What's the people in Berea doing?
What do you mean? What are
Journey
they doing?
concert.
What am I doing?
You're doing the Browns coverage.
Propaganda.
Propaganda.
Can I give you a real life example of ADD?
Yeah.
I never saw that TV until you just mentioned it.
No.
I never saw it.
Well, we brought it down yesterday.
Are you insane?
No, you didn't. Oh, yeah, you haven't been here.
He hasn't been
No,
here
he brought
yet.
it down.
I've been here for the
Tuesday,
last
Tuesday.
hour. I've been here for an hour and 15
You brought it down
minutes.
Tuesday, Mike, because it was here
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yeah.
I never saw the TV.
That's funny.
That's
I didn't
funny.
Huge TV, too.
I didn't notice it.
So it's going to be a lot of fun
it's
here
right
tonight.
in front of me.
We're ordering in some pizza. We're going to have a great time. So
Where y'all getting the pizza from?
I think
Wherever
we'll go-
Steve orders it
I think
from.
we may go. No, we're going to take care of it. Mike and I are taking care of it. I think we'll do a little pizza 216. Solid pizza,
I knew you
close
were
by.
gonna say that.
Never heard of
What's
it.
that?
I knew you were going to say that
Why?
because they were a big sponsor back in the day.
Oh, they were, but that's not why. Just because
right,
it's
then I
good
just got
pizza
lucky.
and it's close.
Yeah, I got lucky then.
Yeah, nice guess. All right, but for now, let's get to our next topic.
Yeah, we're going to do a little cap or no cap.
Oh, it's my favorite subject.
Bull, do you want to explain to the people out there, the
I
young
do.
people, the
What cap-
unhip people,
Oh, my
Yeah.
what
God.
cap and no cap means? Because
Yeah.
you're so hip and I know you know.
That's true. I had to explain this to Tyvis before the show. He was, he was out for lunch.
it to Mike. That's what you explained it.
That is true, Mike. And you're supposed to be the man of the,
Oh,
of the
I
kids.
literally sent it out last night telling you which one was which.
I
just said
knew
it
which
backwards.
one was which, by the way.
So tell the people.
You screwed it up earlier today.
This is sad.
So, cap means you're lying. You're full of crap. It's not true. And no cap means it's true.
There you go.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
So if it's no cap, we're going to do the smiley faces.
Yep. And if
And
it's
if it's cap, we're doing the angry faces.
correct. So I took 4 of the most recent draft rumors, 3 involving the Browns, 1 just big picture.
Yeah.
And because we've had all of these just kind of trickle out and start circulating in the last 48
Right.
hours, we're going to play cap or no cap on these latest rumors to see which ones we believe and which ones we don't.
Or bull crap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The first one, the first cap or no cap. Aditi just mentioned this, but Shedeur Sanders could fall out of the first round. His over/under draft position on FanDuel started at 2.5, then dropped to 8.5. It is now at 21.5.
Okay, but
he has dead even odds.
You and I are going to say the same thing.
Go
Go ahead and say it.
Dead even odds now.
What
It's
did-
plus 100 to go in the second round.
This is a loaded question. Are you? Could he? Are you? Is it could?
I'm saying,
or-
are you believing the rumors that Shedeur could fall out of the first
Well,
round?
no,
Not, what do you think?
I
Do
mean,
you
could
believe
He
the
absolutely
rumors?
could. Are you
Right.
saying will he?
Will he is
I
a
think
better
that's a good
question. Will he?
Okay, we'll do it like that.
Yeah.
Will Shedeur fall out of the first round?
Will he? Wait a minute.
Will
No-
he?
No cap. No, he won't. He won't. He will go in the first round. I don't know which one I'm supposed to put up. for
Will Shedeur Sanders
that. Drafted in the first.
Will Shedeur Sanders be a first round pick, a second round pick?
a second round pick?
Will
Will
he
he
be
be
in
a
the
second round
second
pick?
round?
That's cap.
Cap.
Because I think the Steelers take him at 21.
I'm with these guys. But I was on the fence about it. I think he will be drafted.
I do think Jackson Dart goes before him.
I do too.
I think 3 quarterbacks go in the first
I
round.
think New Orleans pick is the most interesting one because they either going to take Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders. Because if Derek Carr is not playing this season, they have no quarterback.
Well, but you don't draft a quarterback for that reason.
Yeah.
You don't think
Yeah, who they got?
it doesn't matter. If
What do
don't
you mean it doesn't
You can't
matter?
take a guy 9th if you don't think he's going to be that good.
You got to get one anyway because
It doesn't
Derek Carr
matter.
going to be gone.
You can get one another. They could have signed Joe Flacco.
We've had the same argument about the Browns for 4 months, and
Wait a
they're
minute.
drafting 2.
No, they got somebody on the roster. is
Kenny
what I'm-
Pickett and Joe Flacco?
That's who playing this year, regardless of who they take, unless Cam Ward is being selected.
But what's the free agent list of quarterbacks? There's another Kenny
Who?
Pickett and Joe Flacco out there to go
Who?
get.
Carson Wentz?
There we go, Carson Wentz.
You're not
That's the same thing.
They're
They're
not
the
going-
same
They're
thing.
not
Taking
going to
Jackson
take the
Dart.
quarterback just because they
Yes,
need
they
it.
They're all
are.
pigs with different shades of lipstick,
You
and I
know
mean
what?
that
You know what?
nicely.
You know what? When it happens, y'all make sure y'all
That
get.
doesn't
Y'all make
mean
sure
they
y'all
did
look
it for
right
that
at that
reason,
camera right
Titus.
there and say, Tyvis was right.
No, it means they like the guy. They're not drafting. If they think the guy's a big question mark, they're not taking him in 9.
I don't care if they think it's a question mark or not. They taking a quarterback.
Well, but
I agree with you. I do think they're taking a quarterback, but not because
that's fine.
Whatever
reason.
I am changing my mind.
you just pissed him off and made him change his mind.
I'm changing my mind. There will be no quarterbacks taken in the first round after Cam Ward. None.
Woo! I think you're on tilt. I think you're on tilt.
I'm laying the gauntlet, and here's why. The teams in the top 10 are not taking these quarterbacks because everybody's convinced these guys suck. And, yeah, there's some stupid teams drafting in the top 10, the Browns, the Giants, the Saints. There's some bad franchises. But they're not going to pull – all these teams have pulled the trigger – well, especially the Giants and Browns have pulled the trigger on guys early they shouldn't have. We know the Giants just did it with Daniel Jones. They're not going to do the same thing. Jackson Dart's a fraud. Everybody knows that. The Saints will not draft him. And the Steelers will pass on a quarterback.
There's no way.
At 21.
All that because you said the Saints.
And here's something else. Nobody's going to trade up because if there's only one quarterback off the board after the Steelers, there's no reason for these other teams in the top of the second round to trade up because there's going to be a bunch of guys available. So I am going to go out on a limb and say one quarterback drafted in the first round.
I say 3.
Okay, 3. How many quarterbacks in the first round?
That's one of the cap or no cap questions coming up. So.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
1, 3, 3. Let's go.
All right. It's fine. We'll still do it. So this is phrased as it's a rumor because that's what we were doing with these. If you want to change them on the fly, we can change them on the fly.
Yeah.
But the next rumor we had heard was this. Andrew Berry and the Browns are not immediately hanging up calls inquiring about the possibility of teams trading up for number 2.
I mean, of course,
do you
nobody
believe
hangs
that?
up on calls.
Yeah,
do you believe that or
of course
not?
Yeah, of course you do. Especially the Browns.
Why would you ever hang up on a call?
You're looking at me like I'm saying I don't believe it. I'm simply saying
this shouldn't even be considered a rumor or a report. It's stupid. Whoever reported that as an idiot is to say he's
calling Adam Schefter an idiot.
Who did it?
Schefter.
He's an idiot. Yes, he says ridiculous shit. First of all, he doesn't know that. He doesn't there's no way he knows that for sure. Number 2, of course, it doesn't mean anything. If you're Andrew Berry, somebody calls up and says, "Hey Andrew, I want to talk to you about the number 2 pick." He's going to hang up and not listen to what the offer is?
The problem,
that's ridiculous.
The problem with the rumor is we know Andrew Berry. We listen to everything. We have all our
But every team listens to everything.
So I don't know why.
You know how a lot of those rumors get out that so-and-so is listening? Because the team that's listening is the one telling you they're open to offers. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trying to drum up more interest.
But saying they're not going to hang – of course they're not going to hang up.
Yes,
that doesn't mean the Browns are actively trying to move out of the second spot.
Correct.
It means like any smart GM,
Let me ask you
you're going to listen to any trade offer no matter who it involves before you make a decision.
And let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When Joe Burrow was coming out, do you think Cincinnati listened to calls?
I'm sure they listen to calls.
It's the GM's job to listen to calls.
Of course you do.
It's literally his job.
If somebody offered him 10 first-round picks,
do you think they immediately hung up the phone?
I doubt it. But I think they listened to the call and said no thank you to every single person that called.
I'm trying to think of which prospect.
There's no player like that,
LeBron James.
I think LeBron and Wemby. Like Wemby.
The Cavs hung up the phone.
Yeah, I think in Wemby's draft, San Antonio just hung up the phone.
In fact, they didn't even get any calls because they knew. Everybody knew.
What would be the point of hanging up? Because you never know what the offer could lead to some other trade and not even involving the player. You never know what it could lead to.
The Cavs let the phone ring. They looked at the call ID.
Pick it up.
Yeah, the idea that the Browns would not listen to calls on number 2 is stupid. Of course they would.
Especially when it's not a franchise quarterback that you're taking.
That's right. You never know. Yes, I would be shocked if the Browns traded the number 2 pick. But again, let's talk about the game we played yesterday. What if, for whatever reason, the Chargers called up and said, "Hey, we want to move up to 2. Justin Herbert's on the table."
Thomas, did you take that deal?
He's out of come on today.
Yeah. Okay,
today.
Mike asked me that.
Today, I take that. Yeah. Well, I asked him, "Do you want my 4th round pick too?"
Mike asked me last night if I would trade 2 for Herbert. I said absolutely not.
I mean, is that absolutely not?
I just wanted to see.
Earl said no.
I just wanted that reaction from you.
I told him about your reaction yesterday.
Well, because Earl said no. I'm
He
like,
said Bull blew a gasket.
that's insane.
Wait, Earl said he wouldn't take
He said he wouldn't do it.
He crazy.
Mike gave us a list of like 30 players.
Today.
The only one I said yes to that I could understand why people might think I'm wrong, I said I would do it for Bryce Young.
I would not.
I would not.
I hear you. I knew I'd be on the minority on that one. I also said yes with Jordan Love. Would you guys do it with Jordan Love? Mm-hmm. Dustin was a no on Jordan Love.
Yeah, I'd do it. Now, again, like
You're on the fence.
I told
Jordan Love was a tough one.
I am
Yeah.
on the fence about that one.
I told Mike, like, are we taking contracts into factor?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Because he said no.
No, you have to factor in.
Well,
the
I mean,
contract.
like,
on the fence with
it was
Jordan
assuming the
Love.
Browns could absorb the
yes,
contract.
assuming they could take the contract. Yes.
Yeah, I would do it for Jordan Love.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't know. I can't answer that question right now.
And they
Well,
were like,
luckily they'll never be faced that because the fact the Packers would laugh at you
yeah.
tells you. Because if Andrew Berry called up right now and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, you can have the number 2 pick for Jordan Love,"
Yeah,
they would smash the phone.
that's right.
They would hang up.
Yes.
Yes.
I
And
mean-
so would the Chargers.
Yes.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on this with the DD too. I didn't realize we were going to get to all these with the DD in
All right,
inadvertent
well,
ways, but
keeping it crazy.
the Browns are calling teams about trading back up into round 1.
By the way, that's a weird picture. Stefanski looks like he has a man bun, doesn't he?
No, he
What is
doesn't.
happening?
No.
No, I know he doesn't, but it looks like it.
it's a
Something about that
divider
picture.
behind his head.
There's what behind his head?
A divider in the wall.
I know.
his
It
head.
makes it look like he has a man bun.
That was
there.
at the owners' meetings.
It was. Jason was in that picture, which I cropped him out of because I didn't want people to have to shield
Thank
their eyes.
God.
I'm saying no cap on that. I'm sure the Browns are making some calls.
Browns are calling teams about trading back again. That's not the
I
right
don't
question.
know necessarily it's a quarterback, but I'm sure the Browns are making all kinds of calls and seeing what it might-
Okay.
Will the Browns move back up into the first round? The Browns will move back up
Well,
into
then
the
I'm
first
saying,
round.
then I'm going to say cap.
Then I'm going to cap that
Let
too.
me
You
ask-
have ruined Mike's game.
Well, it said
It's fine.
It says
it works
for
however
a
wants to work.
quarterback.
These were supposed to be rumors. We could make them statements. It's easy.
Yeah,
Let me ask you:
Yeah.
Is it possible that it could be for somebody outside of a quarterback?
I doubt it. That wouldn't make any sense.
Actually, it would make sense.
What if it was?
Well,
what if it was one of the
listen,
tackles or something?
I said it was for a tackle if it was going to be a non-quarterback.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I think you're better off waiting and letting teams marinate overnight,
Yeah.
and then if you're going to move from 33, move down.
Right.
But yeah, you can move up for a
Anything's
non-quarterback.
possible. I think giving up assets to get an offensive lineman that you can either get in the second round or probably get another guy who's just as good doesn't make much sense to me. Now, if the Browns,
What if
and we
Abdul
know
Carter
we know the Browns. Listen, we know the Browns are fantastic at analyzing offensive linemen and picking good guys in the draft. But in this case, isn't the general consensus that players 8 through 48 are all about the same?
What if it was?
That's
Abdul
true. Why are you
Carter?
moving up? He's not going past the Giants.
What if he did? What if he went to what if he was still there at 25?
Okay, then I'd trade up for him.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to get it on record.
Yeah, get it on the record. If Abdul Carter's available 25, I would trade up for him.
All right, last one here.
Yeah.
And this has been circulated a couple times, and we answered this already inadvertently. But, Jason, is it more likely only one quarterback goes in round 1 than it is 3 or more?
No
It
cap.
is more likely only one quarterback goes.
Isn't it such a he tricking the question?
Yeah.
Like
Well, these are I put these as rumors. The
Is it
rumor is
more
it's more
likely
likely that
only
one quarterback would go
quarterback
than
goes?
3. I'm not
That's
asking the
cap.
question.
That's cap.
No cap.
That's cap.
That's cap.
Because even if 2, it doesn't even have to get to 3. If
Yes,
it's
it
2,
does.
that's cap.
That's cap.
Is it more likely?
Well, no. Yes. Well, 2.
What if it's 2?
Bull walked into it.
No, you have. It's 1 or 3. 2 is a loss for both.
Yeah, 2 is a
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah.
I think it's.
I'm still.
I think it's
going
more
cap.
likely 1 than 3.
Jason, you think it's more likely 1 or 3?
I think 3.
Three,
I think 3
say
go.
cap.
I'm on record. I think 3 go.
Tyvis.
I'm with Jason.
I think it's in order. I think it's Cam, Dart.
I think we
Shador.
overblowing it.
There we go. All right.
All right.
Game was a little,
You win some, you lose some. You can't all
off
be
kilter,
winners.
but
Hey.
we reached the point of the conversation.
We got to the discussions we wanted
the
to
discussion
get to.
was good.
That was the
Let
most
me
important
ask
part.
you, the Kenny Pickett draft, because that was the one where only Kenny went, and then
Yeah.
the next guy didn't get drafted until Malik? Was it Malik?
Third round Malik, yes.
Who went after?
he was great.
Who went after Malik?
And by quarterbacks?
Yes.
They all sucked except for Purdy.
The quarterbacks that year went in order. Pickett. Oh, Desmond Ridder was second, excuse me.
He sucked.
Ridder went 74th in the third round. Then Malik Willis, 86th in the third round. Matt Corral, 94th in the third round.
He went
Bailey Zappi, 4th round. Sam Howell, 5th round. And then two guys that have never done anything in their entire careers. And then Brock Purdy was the Mr. Irrelevant last pick.
I hate that.
The reason I feel like outside of Matt Corral, like Desmond Ridder went to Cincinnati, which is okay. Coach Fick was there, so shout out to Coach Fick. Malik Willis went to Liberty.
Liberty.
Like they didn't really come.
Corral was Ole Miss. Bailey Zappi was Western Kentucky. Sam Howell was UNC.
Like they did.
Kenny Pickett
I say all that to say
Pittsburgh,
like
right?
they didn't play like major big time football.
Right.
Like they didn't play in these big great conferences to where Jackson Dart. Yeah, I know Matt Corral played Ole Miss, but you got Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. You got Shador from the Big 12. Even Jalen Milroe in Alabama. Like these guys played against top elite talent. So like you got a good study of what they could do for the next level.
You got some legit tape. I think is what Tyvis is trying to say.
Pretty much.
So
All right.
we get to our next topic, Bull.
Yes.
Who's this next topic brought to us by?
Well, Mike, it's brought to you by Menu RX, my good buddy, Dr. Jake May. I've been working with Jake for a while. Obviously, my weight loss process is a long one. I've lost some weight. I got a long way to go. I have struggled. I'm sure many of you out there have struggled as well. You've tried the fad diets. You become a member to this thing or that thing. You lose some weight. You gain it back. It's tough. If you're sick of fad diets, if you're sick of not knowing where to turn, of not getting any help, try Menu RX. There's the website, menu-rx.com. Instead of guessing what might work, Menu RX takes a personalized, science-backed approach to nutrition that's built entirely around you and your needs and how your body works. And here's the good news. Menu RX even accepts many insurance plans, HSA and FSA payments, so you may not have to pay anything out of pocket. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right with your diet but still not seeing results? I'm sure if you're like me, you've been there. Menu RX uses cutting-edge biometrics to tailor a food-as-medicine nutrition plan to you, your biology, your lifestyle, your goals. It's not a one, some of these diet plans, you know them. They use the same plan for everybody. With Menu RX, it's tailored specifically to your needs. So whether you're chasing peak performance, building your dream body, or seeking optimal longevity, Menu RX will help you reach your goals. Go to menu-rx.com, again, as you see on the screen. Go talk to my guy, Dr. Jake May. Get your consultation today with Menu RX.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Bull. Guys, we don't think it is likely the Browns trade down from 2. Bull, you said a few minutes ago you'd be extremely shocked.
I'm stunned.
Stunned is the word you would use. There have been reports and rumors circulating that the Browns, once again, are at least potentially listening to deals, as they should be. And a few of the teams that have been reported to be interested in moving up, not necessarily to number 2, but moving up from their current draft slot, are these teams. Steve, you want to take this? Jacksonville at 5. Carolina at 8, Chicago at 10, Dallas at 12, and Denver at number 20. Tyvis, in your mind, and for the sake of this, let's just pretend the Browns are legitimately listening. You could disagree. You could say it's not going to happen. That's fine. I just want to be on the record with this. If the Browns were to trade down out of 2, what would it take? What's the mandatory starting requirement, in your opinion, for any deal involving the Browns to trade out of the number 2 overall pick this night?
It would have to include this year's first round, next year's first round, and depending on who it is out of that list, it might be the second too.
Here's the problem with that list. I'm not
like Jacksonville is the only one I'm comfortable.
Why would I trade down to 5? I'm not going to Jacksonville. Like if you trade down to 20, well, Denver's got to give up a boatload.
That's what
to
I'm
get
talking
up.
about. Yes,
but. So I guess if they offered me some overwhelming deal, I'd have to think about it. Although I wouldn't Do it.
It would have to be their first,
Yeah.
next year's first, and a good veteran player.
But Jacksonville's not giving up a ton to move from 5 to 2. And for the Browns, you're at 5. You still can't get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. So I'm not going to do that.
But you can get G's boy, Mason Graham.
He hates him.
You could get Tyler Warren.
What would be the? I don't know, Jason. You're more open to making these trades, Jason. What do you? Would you like? What would it take for you to consider it?
Future one is the start. Like, I'm not doing it for less than a future one.
Yeah, of course. But even to me, that's not even enough.
Well, I think where you're right is you're not going to move from 5. You're not going to give up next year's 1 to go from 5 to 2.
Right.
When you're not taking a quarterback.
Yes.
If 5 actually doesn't bother me, you can take the left tackle from LSU because I think the Browns. I think we're going to find out in September and October. The Browns need a left tackle.
I hear you, and I agree with you.
Hey.
But if the Browns take a left tackle,
your ears.
You need to cut
if the Browns take a left tackle at 5, instead of Travis Hunter at 2 to get a second-round pick next year, I'm going to be
second round
off.
pick
Would
next
you
year.
would you take
A first round pick?
If you was going to
Why
take
would
a
Jacksonville
tackle,
do that?
They probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's my point. But I'm not moving out of 2 unless
Yeah.
I get a first round pick next year.
Would you take Will Campbell if you was selecting a tackle? The kid,
It's not even a consensus number 1 tackle.
I think it's him.
I don't think so. I've heard other people say he's not the best.
They say he got short arms.
Yeah, well.
Can't have a dinosaur arm tackle.
I'm just throwing that out as an example.
Yeah.
I think we keep glossing over the fact that they don't have a left tackle.
Hey, yes they
Plug
do.
I
your
haven't
ears.
glossed.
No, they don't.
Wait a second. I haven't glossed over that at all. They clearly need a.
Well,
left
we don't
tackle.
ever talk about it.
We don't-
We're going to
there's
talk about it in
nothing to talk
October.
about.
We're going to talk about it in October
There's nothing to talk about.
when they're scraping the quarterback up off the
They got
ground.
big Thanos over there.
When they're down to their 4th quarterback by
I
November.
hear you.
They need.
You don't believe in Buckeyes. That's
You have a
all I
once
hear.
in a lifetime player. Take him at 2 and shut the hell up. That's it. End of conversation. Not trading down to 5.
By the way, I'm with you.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think they're trading down, nor do I think again, if the starting point, if you go down to 5 and you get a first round pick next year, yeah, I'm going to think about that.
Is
hard.
there any team that got 2 first rounds?
No,
first round
nobody's
picks?
got 2 first rounds. In fact, I believe it's the first time
Ever.
in maybe forever, certainly in a long time, that every team the day of the draft has their own first round pick.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes these quarterbacks is a big reason why.
Yes.
I mean, and that's not. I mean, last year, a lot of times you're trading picks into the future, so that has a lot to do with what happened in prior years.
Yeah.
But a big reason why
Was it a trade last year?
Was what a trade last year?
Anybody made a trade in the draft?
I don't think there were a lot of first round trades last year. That's why everybody's got their first round.
Yeah, that's why
because all these teams wanted the quarterbacks that were picking near the top, so nobody was trading down.
Because the only
there.
team that had the picks was Chicago. Had traded
Yeah.
they picks to the Panthers, or the Panthers traded their
Panthers
picks
traded
to
to
Chicago.
Yeah.
For the other teams on that list, you guys mentioned Jacksonville, and I'm with
Yeah.
you guys. I'm not trading out at 2 unless it starts at a minimum of like 2 future firsts. 8's way too far to fall down. Do you guys agree?
I just think this whole conversation is silly, Mike, honestly, because no team's giving up multiple first-round picks to come up to 2, and the Browns are not moving out of that spot unless they get over.
We're all on the same page. I like
Yeah.
to get stuff on the record, so when people try to come back at us, we then say, hey, look at the
okay.
clip. So if 8's too far, then 10's definitely too far, 12's too far, and 20's too far. You could erase all those if those are the 5 teams that are genuinely interested in moving up in some capacity. The only one you'd even think about for a half second would be Jacksonville.
I wouldn't. Not even
You
for
would?
a second.
Okay.
No.
Jason, for a future first to get back to 5, you would at least think about it.
absolutely drop 3 spots for a future one. Yes.
It's not just 3 spots. You're going from a player who appears to be a once-in-a-lifetime player to a guy who might be a starter.
Let's
I don't
not
know.
act like the 5th pick of the draft is
Well,
a
according
training camp body.
no, but according to there's no consensus 5th pick in the draft.
Correct.
Whereas everybody that does this for a living thinks Travis Hunter's going to be a star.
Okay, would you say Miles Garrett is a once-in-a-lifetime player?
No.
He's pretty close.
He's a once-in-a-generation player.
What's the difference in a lifetime and a generation? Not much.
When I say lifetime, I mean Travis Hunter is one of one in the history of the game.
All right,
potentially.
so once in a generation, what's a generation to you? How many years
10
is
years.
a generation? More than that. Okay.
Once in a decade
okay.
player. Yeah.
Let's say 20 years. Let's say 20 years.
They haven't done a whole lot with a once-in-a-decade player.
Right.
Oh, wow. So they're going to do a whole lot more with a once-in-a-generational player? Or once-in-a-lifetime
I
player?
don't know that they're going to do anything.
It's all about The quarterback.
Of course
All
it
about
is.
the quarterback.
But
That's what the future one is for.
I don't. First of all, you're not getting a future one trading down 3 spots.
Yes, I know, but we're
silly
playing
to have
Mike's
this conversation.
game.
It's a stupid topic and it's a silly conversation. Number 2, again, I think you're overrating the ability to trade up if there are quarterbacks available.
I have lots of history of teams moving up in the draft to go get a quarterback. It happens all the time.
It does when the teams ahead that are giving up picks don't need a quarterback. Teams don't trade out of spots for a quarterback if they need one.
Yes, but there's always a team up there that already has their guy. Always.
Who's the team?
Always.
Who's the team?
I don't know. We haven't even played out the year yet.
Top 3 quarterbacks, top 3 teams this year all need quarterbacks.
When the Panthers traded with the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Who was Chicago's
Justin Fields. They didn't have a quarterback, but they thought they did.
I want.
Hey.
I want to know.
Oh, stop
Y'all
it.
gonna
He
cut
can't
this.
play.
Y'all gonna stop.
I want to know
Y'all
how
gonna
many
stop doing
times
that.
have quarterbacks gone 1, 2, 3 in the draft, and those teams didn't trade up to, and nobody traded up to get there.
Last year.
1, 2, 3 in the draft. How many times?
I don't even know that
Did they go what-
quarterbacks
yeah,
have
last
gone 1,
year.
2, 3 all that often.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what you're
they went
telling
1,
me.
2, 3 last year.
You're telling me that the Browns have no chance of moving up
just
because
happened
there's
last
going to
year.
be 3 quarterbacks, and the top 3
just
starters are all
happened
going to take
last
quarterback.
year.
I didn't say they have no chance. You're making it seem like there's a very good chance they could trade up.
I'm
saying,
saying
it's not as easy as you're making it seem.
I'm saying there's
not
a lot.
that there's no chance.
There's a lot of history of teams moving up in the draft to get a
Agreed,
quarterback.
but-
That's all I'm saying.
But
That's all I'm
it
saying.
depends how many good quarterbacks there are next year and who's picking in those
And
spots.
and,
That's all I'm saying.
as someone who has said this for months, I also acknowledge NIL has changed everything.
That's right.
Everything.
I'm not saying
all of this is a
I'm just saying,
calculated
I
risk.
just think you're making it seem like it's easy to move up, and I don't think it is.
It's a lot easier when you have an extra one to
yes,
attach.
but ultimately, if the Giants, Saints, and Raiders have the top 3 picks next year and the 3 quarterbacks, the Browns won't be able to move up. Now that might not happen. Maybe the Patriots are in the top 3 again, and they could.
All of
the
this
Titans.
is a calculated risk.
Yeah,
all of
sure,
it.
of course.
All right, let's move on, guys.
Yeah.
Get to our next topic here. Something Denzel Ward said that kind of caught my interest during his offseason program interview yesterday. But this topic is brought to us by FanDuel. It is America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, if you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. There's a couple things Denzel Ward said that we are going to touch on. The first was this, though. Denzel was asked by someone yesterday, Denzel, what do you think the Browns should do with the 2nd overall pick? And Denzel said, quote, "See, me selfishly, I would love Abdul Carter. Him and Miles on both sides. I think that'd be pretty cool and dominating for the defense. So I would love for him to be on the team. I think he'd be a great player in the league. But yeah, whoever we get, I'm looking forward to getting those guys in and talking to those guys and getting to work," end quote. Nothing wrong with what he said, but are you surprised he actually put a name to that, Tyvis, where he actually said selfishly, I hope the pick is Abdul Carter?
No, I'm not. No, not at all. I mean, the thing is, you can be fans of people's games, even if you're in the league, and what's going to help you get to the next level and help you be a better player and help the defense, Abdul Carter. So I'm not. Yeah,
I think it's a weird thing for him to say, though.
Why?
Because the team's probably taking Travis Hunter. Why? I don't.
Denzel is very honest.
Yeah,
Like, you ask him a question, he's going to answer.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about him. He's
Yeah,
very.
I'm not saying it's horrible. It's just it's a little odd.
I just
Not
think
odd at all.
he's very open and honest
Yeah.
about a lot. He was one of the first to come out and say we need a quarterback. Like we got to get a franchise.
That's true.
So that's just his nature. And Tyvis, as a defensive back, how much does an edge rusher help you? 2 edge rushers help you.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you ain't.
So of course,
I've been saying, listen,
So, of
as a
course he
DB,
would
if
want-
you can't ask a DB that question.
You're saying you wouldn't want to have a wide receiver and a corner in the same player?
but if if he says Travis Hunter, it's almost like a little bit of a slight on MJ.
That's true. That's fair.
So that's his guy.
Yeah.
Or Greg or any of them.
Yeah.
So by saying Abdul, you're helping yourself. You're helping.
Right.
Any defensive player is going to want a defensive pick, just like
Yeah.
any offensive player is going to want. I thought it was a nothing burger.
It is a nothing burger.
It is. No. I didn't say it's just a big deal. I just thought it was
Nothing
interesting.
but-
He actually
but
It'll
it's
be
interesting.
forgotten after the draft.
I just appreciate his honesty and his openness.
That's fair.
And I totally get why he would want an edge rusher.
I
That'd
do
be the
too.
quarterback.
I looked at it and I said, yeah, of course that's what he said. I would have said the same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, the second thing, he was asked about Travis Hunter, and he said, before you take this, Steve, that Travis Hunter a while ago had reached out to him saying, let's work out together. And he said, I'm looking forward to making that happen. So I think he even knows where they're going with Travis Hunter. But he was asked about the ability of Travis Hunter to potentially play both sides of the football in the NFL. He did it in college. Can he do it in the pros? This is what Denzel Ward had to say on that. Quote, he's an exceptional player, and I think that seeing him on the field, he was able to do it in college, so I would be excited to see him do it in the NFL as well. You got to be open to seeing different things that would be different. So it just takes one person to do it at an extremely high level. He went on to say it would have to be managed reps. We work at different times, like offense is there one time, and then we go off to the side, and we're working on this side. But, I mean, I feel like they can manage the reps and go about it the right way. I'm sure they'll come up with a game plan for it. But, yeah, I think it's possible, though. Bull, you have said many, many times that the Browns draft Travis Hunter and don't utilize him on both ends of the floor, both sides of the field, not ends of the court, wrong sport. It would be a travesty.
It would be.
You like how I did that? Travis Hunter, travesty. If they didn't do it, you're welcome. Yeah. You could steal that in future. You steal all my stuff anyway. So with Denzel giving the stamp of approval in that regard to Travis, and Tyvis, I'm curious what you think on this after Bull goes.
We should ask Zach Meisel what he thinks about it, too.
No, my guy Zach Meisel.
Meisel, I'm sorry. I actually pronounced his name right. You
did. No, I'm now accepting
Zach
you saying
Meisel yesterday.
But when it comes to managing reps, to hear a player talk about, or at least mention the difficulties just based on the reps you would need at both, how much do you think he can play on both sides of the field? And I want Tyvis to go last on this one, but how much do you, not like overall snap count, but knowing offense practices at one time, defense practices at another time, they're not different times, but different sides of the field.
Who cares about all that crap? None of that matters. This idea, is he going to be able to practice stuff here or there? The guy is a freak. Okay, he's going to play 80%.
He still has to practice. He still has to know what's going on.
Of course he does. There's plenty of time to practice.
It's not nonsense.
It's nonsense that people are obsessing about, will he be able to do this? They'll figure it out, Jason. It's not that complicated.
I just think it's the
logistics. This is not science. This is football.
You have to. He has to put in the extra work.
Of course.
And I don't think you have any worry with that.
100%. This guy is all about football.
Yes.
He's a hard worker. He wants to do this. Why would you not take advantage of this? And if it means his career shorter, so be it. He is signed up for this.
I don't even think you're shortening his career.
I don't think so either, but if it does in the long run, you can't worry about that right now.
I mean, he may not be doing this at 32.
Sure, eventually he'll probably go to one side of the ball.
Yeah.
But right now, use the guy as much as you can. You figure out obviously he's going to have to practice. And again, this idea, if he just did one or the other, he'd make himself even better. Okay, I'd rather him be Pro Bowl at both than all pro at one and nothing at the other.
I was thinking about this week, and I was going back to what you had said about he's got to be in the offensive meetings and defense. I got to know.
I think Denzel said that also.
And another thing that I was thinking that drives that home, if you just play him on third downs on defense.
Yeah. Or obvious passing situations.
What is in your mouth?
What do you got in your mouth?
It's a cough drop. That threw you off?
I thought you had
You're talking with a mumble.
Yeah, you sound
Did I?
Yes.
Excuse me.
You sound like Bubba Gump right now.
Shrimp cocktail.
I really thought that I got
Fra Diablo.
Well, I had it like this.
No, you didn't fool anybody.
I had it
like in your lip. It was like a big chewing tobacco thing.
You had a dip in.
Yes. Like
a couple zins.
Stuffed shrimp.
Make sure you pronounce that P at the end of that. Go ahead.
I can't do that where they.
Oh yeah.
It's so disgusting.
If I was sitting here going like this, you know what it was.
I don't even know when you slid that in because that was one I'm paying attention.
Yeah,
I look over, it's like
you talking about what I said?
That one, bro.
It's like you're over here having a stroke or something. I'm trying to. I totally lost train of thought.
About practice reps,
third down
meetings. Because Jason had an epiphany.
It's not epiphany. I was just thinking, if you've got him out there on first down and second down, you're exposing him to a lot of tackling. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that's a great use of his time.
It depends on where you have him at,
and energy.
Depends on where you have him at. If he's playing outside corner, if the team wants to make an outside corner tackle. They'll come out with they'll do bunch to one side. They'll have everybody blocked down and make the running back go straight to the outside and go one-on-one with the corner.
Yeah,
they want to make a corner tackle. But for the most part, corners aren't doing that much tackling. Now, for him, I suggested on Tuesday when we talked about him, I said, again, he should spend a lot of time on offense because all of the terminology, all the hot checks, all the audibles, it's a lot of time that goes into that. Defense, you can literally have somebody tell you, there's only 5 things you can do. You can play man, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, or blitz. That's it. So you have somebody tell him what he got on this play. I suggested on third downs and obvious pass situations, don't even put him in that corner. The Browns have the luxury of having Denzel, MJ Emerson. I know what people think about MJ Emerson, but it's a contract year, so he definitely has to bounce back this year. And Genu.
For now, Genu.
Yes, for now. You got those 3 guys right now. So that means you don't necessarily need him to play any corner. I would suggest making him a dime, take a linebacker out, put him in, and have him play robber because he looks at the ball really well and he plays the ball.
Playing that position.
Robber is another safety that drops down in the middle of the formation. So he'll start high. When they say go, he'll drop down by where the linebackers is. He'll read the quarterback, and as soon as the quarterback about to throw, boom, he'll take off and try to undercut things. That makes it so, 1, you don't need him. He don't need to know a lot of other things. 2, I told y'all when I watch his tape, he gambles a lot. He rolls the dice a lot. And if you play strictly man-to-man, he might still get nosy and his eyes might not be where they're supposed to be and he can get beat. But utilize his greediness, his gambling ability, because it works for him, and put him in a position that if he does gamble and he's wrong, it doesn't matter because he's just the extra piece in the defense. Right. So that's how I would utilize him, because now you're still getting a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball that has the ability to change the game that way, yet it's not taking a lot of mental strain on him. Yeah. You know what you got.
Give us an example of a player who does that, like who plays that kind
who robs.
Yeah.
Earl was a big-time robber. Earl Thomas was a big-time robber. He did a lot of things.
So what is the downside of having somebody do that, play that role?
If they run the ball, he got to come in. He'll be in the fit.
Yeah. And that's what I was getting at, was I'm trying to keep him out of run tackle.
He'll have to be in the fit. That's why I say obvious pass.
But if he's only doing that in third down or second and long, there's not going to be a lot of runs.
Would Ed Reed have been considered that?
Ed Reed was a guy who did his own thing.
Palomalu?
Yes, he was. Palomalu definitely. Although, those guys that made them safeties, that made them type of plays, they were playing
and those were special players.
But Palomalu is also
it's a position you have to be very instinctual. You have to your instincts have to tell you exactly where he's going with it. You got to know exactly what he's thinking on these down and distances, and boom, just go rob it.
Now the top quarterbacks will try to take advantage of that.
They'll try to look you off.
But
at the end of the day, you just helping. It's not like this is my dude. Like, this ain't like, I got to stop this guy. It's a corner or a DB that's going to be with him. I'm just robbing it. That's all.
It's going to be fascinating to see how they use it.
And then you're not disrupting your normal.
Yeah, everybody else is still doing their same thing. He's just the extra piece. He's there. You can't, if you're playing corner, it's not like I'm going to say to myself, oh, yeah, I got Travis on the inside. That's not what I'm thinking as a corner. As a corner, I'm thinking I got this dude right here, and if Travis comes out of nowhere and robs the play, great.
So now you got one linebacker on the field.
But you only got one linebacker on the field, which your best linebacker is JOK. We don't know how he's going to play anyways this year. So,
What'd you guys think? Neither of you guys weren't here yesterday. JOK on Tuesday made
was
an
in
appearance.
The building. I'll believe he'll play this season if he's lined up at OTAs.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
Yeah, but it was promising that he was there.
Yeah. Yes.
Who knows?
Till I see him
we don't
on the
know.
field, I don't believe
we've all been talking about him as if he may have to retire or whatever. We don't know. The Browns have never really said anything like that. They've been cagey about what's really going on with him, but we don't know. I think we've all speculated that this could be career-ending and he might not play this year.
I hope it's not, because if you have a JOK, like if they go dime and JOK is your linebacker and you got Travis Hunter, like that's two unbelievably good playmakers on defense.
Yes. No doubt. All right, Mike, what do you got? One more quote from
one more quick quote from Kevin Stefanski on Denzel Ward, but it was during the same preseason or off-season program interview session.
On Denzel Ward or on Hunter?
Well, Kevin Stefanski was asked about Travis Hunter playing both ways. Yeah. And then the follow-up was, we asked Denzel the same question, and this is what Kevin Stefanski had to say back to that. Denzel's been pining to play offense for a long time.
Oh.
if the Browns are going to let Travis Hunter play both ways,
absolutely not.
Jason, would you let Denzel Ward give it a shot?
No
A few
chance.
snaps on offense.
No chance. How many concussions are we up to? Man's
6.
lucky to be on the field at all.
Not to mention, when's the last time we played offense? High school?
Yes.
I just thought this was fun. Obviously,
I don't even
it's
think he ever played
ridiculous.
offense at Ohio State, did he?
No.
I mean, that's
No.
cool that he would like to.
I'm
Jet
sure a lot of
sweeps.
guys would like to.
Of course.
I would have loved. I always
Myles
had
Garrett
a
in the
dream
red
was
zone?
just playing
Lob
quarterback for
threat?
one play. I'd have handed it off.
I mean, the Browns should use Myles Garrett.
Miles
like,
in the red zone would be fun.
They should use him like the Bears used to use the fridge.
Vrabel on the Patriots.
Right.
Y'all getting ahead of yourselves.
Oh, he's a freak athlete, man.
Who? Miles? Oh, yeah, but like, come on
He grabs
now.
boards in basketball. He could absolutely
Yes.
box some guys out
If
and
these-
put up some big numbers.
I watched him in the Celebrity All-Star Game.
Yeah.
The year NBA All-Star Game was here a few
Yeah.
years back. It's incredible the way he can move. It's like to actually, I mean, yes, you see it on the football field, but then
Right.
to see it on and he was really amped up. Like you
Yeah.
could tell, like this is my time to shine.
Right.
So he needed to settle his nerves down a little bit early on in the game, but dude can hoop, man.
Tyvus, if these offensive linemen can catch passes, you telling me Myles Garrett can't catch passes?
I didn't say that. When did I say that?
You just said, I believe the exact words were, Miles, not a great athlete. He's a little overrated. Those
Yeah,
are the words that came out of your...
I
I
never
couldn't tell with
like-
the cough drop. It kind of mumbled what you
You don't
said.
think they
I was
should
trying
use
to
him?
interpret.
You don't think they should use Myles on offense at all?
Sure. Go ahead.
You're entitled to think
Go
they
ahead.
shouldn't. I
J.J.
understand.
Watt did it. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Let's go.
Why not?
I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
It's sad that that's where we are with the Cleveland Browns offense, but yes, go ahead.
That's why they drafted Travis Hunter.
All right, but let us
Yeah.
know where our last topic of the day is coming from.
So this topic is brought to you by MenuRx. Go to menurx.com for more information. Instead of guessing what might work when it comes to losing weight, MenuRx takes a personalized, science-backed approach to nutrition that's built entirely around you. Depending on your insurance, it may be covered. You can use HSA and FSA, so you might have to use nothing out of pocket. Do you find it hard to stick with meal plans? If you're like me, I'm sure you do, because a lot of those meal plans feel rigid or out of touch, or they're set for just everybody. Well, you also, with MenuRx, they will make an individual meal plan for you, not for the general group. You also get lifelong access to tools in the MenuRx client portal and a dedicated MenuRx dietitian to support your success and long-term sustainability. I've been working with Dr. Jake May for a few months now. The guy's great. He's, obviously I have to do most of the work, but to have somebody in your corner that supports you, and even when you're struggling and even when you're not losing weight, they're there for you to make sure things don't go even worse than they could. So whether you're chasing peak performance, building your dream body, or seeking optimal longevity, MenuRx will help reach your goals. Go to menu-rx.com, as you see on the screen, and get your consultation today. I always advise people, if you screw up a word when you're doing a commercial or something, never repeat it, because it brings attention to you screwing up the word. And then I just did it. I went against my own rule
I forgive you, Bill.
when
It's
I
okay.
screwed up that word.
We started with
yeah.
the Cavs. We're going to end with the Cavs here. We
Okay.
got that 2-hour live draft show tonight. Make sure you tune in at 8
Yeah.
o'clock tonight. But to give you some context for what I'm about to let you guys listen to, this is how good the Heat were statistically on offense last night. 112 points. They made 16 threes, and they shot better than 50% from the floor while allowing their opponent, the Cavaliers, to shoot less than 50%. NBA teams all-time were 76-0 in the playoffs with those numbers.
Wow.
The Heat all-time were 45-1 with those numbers in the history of the franchise. I'll give you those numbers again. 112 points, 16 made threes. The team shoots better than 50% while holding the opponent to less than 50% shooting.
Now, it's a little
in the
misleading
history of the
because the Cavs
playoffs.
shot like 49.6%.
Granted, I'm just giving you the context to set
Right.
up this next up. NBA teams with those numbers before last night were 76-0 all-time in the playoffs. The Cavs obviously won last night. They found a way to outscore the Miami Heat. And in the locker room after the game, Darius Garland was asked about the team's offensive strategy to how to attack Miami. And this is what Darius said to that very question.
Since they got guys at the trade deadline, Miami's been really good at turning teams over, but the first two games you guys have really held on to it. Just what's the key to playing clean basketball like that against a team like that?
Pick on Tyler Herro and take care of the ball. Don't play in tight spaces. And pick on their weak defenders. Go at them.
Jason, shots fired.
Yeah, I would say. I was a little surprised. I didn't hear that. I think I was talking to somebody else when he said that, so I didn't see that until after the fact.
Bad job out of you.
Can only be in one place at a time.
Take McNuggets around with you. It's like
he was there. Were you there for that, or
no? I was in the podium because they brought guys into the podium, so I went to go talk to Donovan.
So Mike was at the podium. I was talking to Donovan in the corner, and when Darius said that, so I didn't hear that live.
Wonder what Kenny thinks of that comment.
Probably didn't love it. It's a little. I'm not gonna. I just said about Denzel. I love guys who are honest. Obviously, we want him to be honest.
Yeah, right.
So I'm never going to kill a guy for being honest.
No.
But, I mean, Darius, there are a lot of guys, I think, in the league who don't like Tyler Herro. So this was just another little knife twist.
And I think also, Mike, real quick, that people kind of pick on Darius defensively. And maybe he's kind of like sick of that, and he wanted to pick on someone else in that same way.
It was probably a little unnecessary.
Well, hold on, Jason. Before it was unnecessary, there's some numbers that back up what he's saying.
Okay, but you don't need to say it.
We're not
saying.
Well,
you shouldn't say it, but look at some of these numbers real quick because the numbers are kind of staggering. Games 1 and 2, so 2 games, 96 minutes. The Cavs have put Herro in 50 possessions where he's the screener defender in a pick-and-roll situation. So they put him in 50 pick-and-rolls. That's more than double his regular season average. He was averaging about 12.2 pick-and-roll defending the pick and roll 12.2 times per game. They're averaging 25 per game in games 1 and 2, and the Cavs are averaging 1.2 points per possession on those plays, which anything over 1 is good. Anything over 1.1 is very good. In the 1.2 range is
insane.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Some of the individual numbers, Donovan's 5 for 7 against Herro in this series, according to NBA tracking data. Garland is 6 for 10, and Ty Jerome is 5 for 6 in these situations against Tyler Herro. He did say it.
Yeah.
And maybe he shouldn't have said it, but the numbers back it up, and they have
I'm not saying he's wrong.
Nobody was debating whether he was right or wrong.
He's not wrong. My point is he's not wrong at all.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't think anybody was arguing that he was wrong. We were arguing should he have said it.
I just wanted to give you guys the numbers for a little context.
I hear you.
I ain't got no problem with it at all. I think it's kind of it made me laugh when I seen it, and all I'm gonna tell you is all I would say is that just know that when you get to Boston, that's their game plan for y'all. So he obviously know what it looks like because he does. It happens to him all the time.
Boston puts Darius in pick and rolls.
My point exactly. So
and if he's going to talk the talk, he's got to walk.
You better
the walk.
make sure. So now that you put this statement out there, when you get to Boston, you better make sure that you ain't the guy that they picking on because they definitely gonna try it.
Yeah, and obviously Tyler Herro, who's played well in this series, is going to come out there with a chip on his shoulder. I don't know if, who knows if he's capable of playing.
I don't know if it matters.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. The Heat are easy pickings because the Cavs know they're going to win this series. And ultimately, I don't care that Darius said it. I was just a little surprised. I didn't expect him to kind of publicly trash talk a player.
You think Miami gets one at home?
I don't, but it's just
I do.
Yes,
I think they
Game 3?
Yeah. No, 4.
It could either one.
I'll say 4.
Either one.
I kind of love the fact Darius said it, for being honest.
You don't love it?
No, I love it. I actually, the bravado, the confidence to just go out there and be as honest, blatantly honest, maybe to a fault. It shows to me that they're not looking ahead. They're not overlooking the next
They don't fear them at all, I'll tell you that.
It shows that they know, as we've said, they should know that this should not be a series. And to say that in Game 2, after a game that was close, came down to the wire, to publicly go out there and say, our game plan's pretty simple. We're attacking Tyler Herro. Why? Because that dude can't guard me. We've talked about Darius in the postseason last year, not lacking confidence, right? We crushed him for lacking. He's not trusting his shot. He's not getting to his spots. He had the season from hell last year. All of it was valid. He's out here at the complete opposite this season.
Yeah.
2 relatively good performances. He was great in Game 1. He was solid last night. And the confidence is back. He's playing with confidence. He's a better player.
I don't know that talk proves confidence. We'll see how he plays. This series, let's be honest, this series is meaningless.
Oh, I disagree.
It's meaningless in turn.
The Bulls would have been meaningless.
Why?
Because they would have smacked them in 4 games. I wrote about this the other day. We talked about it Monday, when I was in on Monday. was talking to Tristan about this, and Tristan compared this series to Detroit in 2016, where he said it's a sweep. We swept them, but it was a hard sweep.
Right.
And it prepared them for what lied ahead. And I absolutely think Miami is doing that.
Let me clarify what I meant by it's meaningless. When I say that, it means if they lose to Indiana, then there's no accomplishment here by beating Miami.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
But it doesn't matter. That's true regardless. Like, they got to make the conference finals.
I'm just saying
at a minimum.
We talked all year the Cavs can't prove anything till the playoffs, but they really can't prove anything till they get to the conference final. Maybe you want to say, okay, if they get to the conference final, they proved something. But I still think
what was the Orlando series last year?
They were up 2-0.
They won in 7.
It went 7 games.
They were up 2-0. Everybody thought it was
meaningless
over.
then.
Everybody thought it was over. They went down to Orlando. They played like crap.
Yeah, because they had to win. They won every game in Cleveland, but never won a game in Orlando.
They were down 18 in the first half of Game 7 at home.
My only point is,
came back to win.
If Darius plays great against Miami and we're lauding him and going crazy, and then he doesn't play well against Indiana and they somehow lose that series,
yeah, of course,
we won't be thinking anything positive about Darius at the end.
I'm going to still wear my
jersey. I'm not saying that's going to happen, nor do I think it's going to happen. This team's got a lot to prove. I'm fine with him talking trash. I don't have a problem with it, but as long as he backs it up.
Jason, why you?
Because if he doesn't, it's going to get thrown back in his face.
Why you don't wear jerseys?
Wait, let Jason respond to what Bull said first before we pivot into the jersey discussion. We can finish the show.
Go ahead. What did I say?
I want to
controversial.
No, but I just want Jason to give his 2 cents on it.
Yeah. On
or
which
give
part?
an opportunity to give 2 cents.
On which part?
On which part, Mike?
The meaningless stuff?
Yeah.
Or the? Yeah, I mean, we're going to judge these guys by making the conference finals and how they do against Boston.
That's it.
That's how they'll be ultimately ruled a success or a failure.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But you don't just roll into the conference finals. There's steps to get there. There's progressions to get there. And I think Miami is a much better prep for them than Chicago or Atlanta, or I don't even remember what the other team was.
Orlando would have been a tough.
Orlando would have been tough. Orlando would have been tough.
I get what you're saying, and yes, they rested a lot at the end of the year. To some degree, you're knocking off a little rust here in the first round, and you got to build up and play better each series. But ultimately, they'll be judged by what they do against Boston.
I do think it's a good how many times do we have the conversation in the end of March? They're not making threes. Is it time to panic?
Yeah.
Mike and I both said no, and here they come.
Yeah.
Now they're shooting it like they were during their long winning streaks. They made more threes last night in the second quarter. Than they made in 5 of the 7 games last year against Orlando. It's incredible how far they've come. Go back to the New York series when they couldn't get to 100 points. And we kept saying, they have no shooting, guys.
Right.
What do you want them to do? There's nobody. They can't space the floor.
Yeah.
They have nobody who can make shots. That was just 2 years ago. And as far as they've come, both in roster construction and obviously in Kenny's overhaul of the offense, Evan's growth, Darius return to the type of player that we knew he could be, Sam, Ty, the development of those guys, they are now in a position to where they can pace and space with anybody in the league.
Who do you think is a better team, Memphis or the Heat?
Miami.
You think Miami's better than Memphis?
Memphis is more talented. Miami's a much better team.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Memphis is.
Do you think Memphis get one against OKC?
No.
No.
But you think Miami could get one on the Cavs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. I mean, there was I thought this would go 5, and there was a chance it would go 6. It's not going 6.
I thought this,
but
one
I
was
do
going
think
5.
I do think it'll go 5. I think Miami will get one down there.
Hell, y'all don't think Miami could get one? I mean, not Memphis could get one. It's at home.
Memphis is.
They at home for the next 2 games.
No, they're not. That's going to be a sweep.
And Memphis fired their coach. Thought it would get better. It did not get better.
No.
What do you expect?
One game. You can't get swept, man.
OKC is legit.
Will the Bucks get swept?
No, they won't get swept.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
I just wanted to ask you guys this last thing on the Cavs, and we'll pivot to these super chats to end the show. But did you guys notice, and Jason, I didn't notice it live, the snow they dropped from the rafters last night?
I only saw somebody tweeted it last night.
Yeah, I seen somebody tweet that,
Yeah, the only thing, they did it in the second quarter. They've been on this avalanche.
Avalanche, yeah.
It's funny. It's like Dan loves stuff like this. So.
Oh yeah, he's a cheeseball.
I thought second quarter is maybe a little bit early. Like, don't you want to have the game in hand?
They was hitting threes though.
Yeah, I know. That's like you want to time it up with when the avalanche occurs. I get it, but if you lose that game, not a great look.
No.
If you there will be more avalanches in the future.
Yeah, there will be.
It's a new staple now.
Do we want to talk about the fact that the music's too loud at the arena?
It is. When I was traveling, it was the loudest arena for stuff like that. There's fan noise, and then there's that.
I'll never understand why people want the music that loud.
They don't. They're just trying to make it like a rock concert environment.
I took my son and a friend of his, out for lunch yesterday after the show.
Where'd you go?
Went to Danny Boy's in Rocky River.
What is that? A deli?
No, it's a like pizza Italian place.
Oh, okay.
There's like 5 or 6 locations in the
Doing pizza 2 nights in a row?
I didn't eat pizza. I like their chicken parm.
I do love a good chicken.
I like a nice chicken parm.
Sub or with pasta?
I eat it either way.
So Danny Boy's, their thing is based on like the Rat Pack and Frank Sinatra and stuff. So they call it a woogie. It's kind of like a calzone with chicken parm inside of it.
It's called Danny Boy's in Rocky River?
Yeah. Well, there's a few locations. There's like 5 or 6 locations. But it's a good place. And my Little League team this year is sponsored by Danny Boy's. So we're having our team party there in a couple of weeks.
Propaganda,
exactly. But that's a big use of that word today. Why did I bring this up?
I have no idea.
So we were in the restaurant, and it was pretty much empty. It was an odd time. It was like 2:30 in the afternoon. There was a couple in there, and then there was me and 2 boys. And when I come in, there's always like Frank Sinatra or that style of music playing. I love it. It's at a good level. For whatever reason, when I walked in there yesterday, they were playing kind of like dance music or something like that. And I don't even care. I said to the waitress, I was like, can we put on some Sinatra or something? They switched it over. I complain about the music. I go to a restaurant, the music's too loud. I'll ask them to lower it. If they don't, I'll leave. I will not sit in a restaurant. I don't understand. If I'm if you're eating dinner, if you go out to dinner, isn't the point of going out to dinner to have conversation? Not just eat? Like have conversation with the people you're with? I don't want to be listening to blasting music. If I go to a club, I go to a bar.
What if it's like blues?
It does depend on the style of music.
When's the last time you were in a club?
I'm scared.
If I go to a club, how often are you hanging out?
Well, I didn't mean me, but
that's a great question. No, the people want to know.
The last time I went to I don't even know. I don't even know. I can't take that.
I don't like that either.
Is a bar considered a club? No.
Also, I don't see a chicken parm woogie on the menu here, Bull. Are you lying to me?
They made it for me.
Oh. It's not on the menu. They have other woogies.
Yeah, I got one with chicken parm and meatballs.
I don't know what a woogie is.
Wait, Bull, I need to know. What is a woogie?
It's like a calzone.
I'm going back 25 years.
Yeah, I'm Italian. I know what a calzone is, but that sounds fake. A woogie doesn't sound real.
Had like the braided
I
necklace.
told you this. Woogie is something to do with Sinatra. I can't remember what the thing is, but they name a lot of their things after Rat Pack and Sinatra references.
Yeah, so when's the last time you've been in a real club, Bull?
I couldn't even tell you.
Hey,
I don't know that I've ever been in a club.
Ask the chat if anybody remembers the Funky Buddha. That was my spot.
Funky Buddha.
The Funky Buddha.
But all clubs serve alcohol, so what's ultimately, if it has a dance floor, does that make it a club? Like, what officially makes it a club versus a bar? The music?
That's got a lot to do with it.
I just can't take that music. If I go to a restaurant, they're playing blues, they're playing jazz, they're playing Sinatra, they're playing rock. I can take it a little louder, but I don't want loud music no matter what.
You know a club when you see it.
Yeah,
if you're going to hang with your buddies or something, that's not a club. If you're going to shop, you're going to a club.
I go to the bars. My wife
so like when I go to I've been to the Thirsty Parrot. That's not a club, right? That's a bar.
That's a bar.
So if we're talking about a true club,
if you're watching TV,
I guess maybe the last time when I was in college was probably the last time.
West
Really?
6.
Why would I go to a club?
I mean, after college.
I mean, I was living in Utica, New York. It's
There's probably not a lot of clubs.
It's not like
not a lot of clubs there.
You know.
I couldn't tell you.
I would.
Last time you were in the club?
I can't really think of it off the top of my head. I'm not a big club guy, though.
Mine would have been like probably 2001.
And in those days, you'd go and you'd stink from cigarettes because they could smoke in those places.
You couldn't hear anything. Like, you can't talk to anybody.
Can't have a conversation, no. I hate loud music, and they do it. Every restaurant plays the music too loud.
All right, we got some super chats. Yeah. A quick reminder, at 8 o'clock tonight, we are live for the draft. We will not be spoiling picks. We're going to be watching them live as they come to our TVs. We're going to not announce them beforehand. When the Browns make a pick at 2, you will get live reaction. We'll go from about 8 to 9:30-ish to 10 if they trade back up. G. Bush, if they trade back up after 10, will go live again. So we will have a live stream and a live show for you guys for whatever the Browns do tonight. But 8 o'clock, tune in, hang out with us. We're excited. It's our first ever in-studio nighttime live show. So
when is G. Bush going live tonight?
Say it again?
10.
He can't be going live at 10. He's going to be here.
No, if they make a trade into the first round again. And we did not cover it in our initial show. So they trade into 28, and we're off the air. G's going to go live immediately after.
So if the Browns do not make another pick after 2, there will be no
other live show.
But I will be on, by the way, folks, at midnight. Or whenever the first round of the draft ends, I'll be on my podcast, so come watch me then.
He'll be live from the club, a.k.a.
I won't be at the club. I'll be in my basement.
We got some super chats. First one comes from Bailey Blanton, who says, I am hereby requesting a Jay Crawford and Bull baseball podcast. Doesn't have to be Guardians talk, just MLB in general. That's there's not enough baseball talk in the city.
All right,
love
good
UCSS
luck. Well,
always,
no
guys.
offense to Jay, but Zach Meisel and I do a great baseball podcast once a week. It's about the Guardians. It's not about baseball in general. So there you go. That's. Listen to that, the Ultimate Cleveland Guardian show. Zach and I have a lot of fun every week doing that.
But you don't want
usually on Mondays.
You don't want to do a show with Jay because he like 11% black.
That's the most outrageous thing we've had. Ty, you said some crazy stuff this week. Philip Chambers.
The craziest thing you've said, Tyvus.
Philip
cough
Chambers
drop
says,
is laced with vodka.
Why is Jason on draft day show? Holy smokes.
Why is Jason on draft day show?
Why not? He's a good insider.
I'm just reading super chats. Don't
tell that guy to stop being an ass.
No, it's fine.
Damian Wilson says, I want Milroe so bad, I'm okay with him at number 2. I want a running quarterback so bad because if I could have any quarterback, it'd be Lamar Jackson. He's my dream quarterback. Browns get Milroe.
At 2? Boy, you throw the whole draft off.
You imagine?
He would throw the whole draft off if they took Milroe at 2.
What will your reaction be right now if the card gets turned in tonight and we are sitting here live and the pick is Jalen Milroe?
I mean, that'd be insane.
Remember Bill Simmons when the Cavs took Anthony Bennett at 1? It would be something like that.
Don't remember that. What did he say?
Was like,
now, in fairness, as bad a pick as that was, wasn't the whole lottery terrible that year?
all except Giannis.
Except for Giannis.
There you go.
But he never came up in that conversation.
I had somebody with the Cavs tell me he was a second-round pick. He should have been a second-round
that guy should be fired.
He
Anthony Lima was obsessed with Anthony Bennett. He loved him.
Well,
he worked out in the combine and he shot up in the combine.
Was a bum.
He had a preseason game where he played great, and that was it.
That was it. All right, next super chat. Yeah. Our guy Salish Shastri from India says, I've been waking up at 4:30 a.m. in India just to watch the Cavs. Hope my sleep remains limited until June. You guys are the best. Jason, should we have bought out a decent big earlier in the season?
I don't know if there was really any.
There was one decent big at the buyout market.
His name was Mo Bamba. He not very good.
Bamba.
There's a whole song about him.
I'm about
he
to
chose
say,
to pick one that's not real.
It's a whole song called Mo Bamba.
Yeah.
It was
we got a bunch more. We only got 2 minutes.
All
right, go ahead.
William Beck says, that's it? Okay. End quote.
All right.
Halim Yusuf says, can we promise no spoilers or early announcements on tonight's show?
Yeah,
Everyone finds out the picks at the same time. Yeah, no, we're not going to announce them early.
I don't even look at Twitter because I hate that Adam Schefter feels the need.
We are going to.
They tweeted out
we're going to do it live. Our reaction will be
by all
live.
of them. D-bag move. Go ahead.
Mark Morante says, when the Cavs reach the Eastern Conference Finals, why don't we do a live show with the fans somewhere? Maybe Sweet Pork Wilson's, like First Take. Mark, we are open to any place that wants to have us for a remote show where we can do it with fans. Our sales guy, Justin, who's upstairs right now, is working hard to make that happen. But we would love to do those. Yeah. It's not for lack of want. It is sometimes a two-way street to make it happen. Chef Brian K says, Carter could fall, hasn't worked out, and no team trusts Drew Rosenhaus. Just my honest opinion. And last one, Salvatore the 216 says, Bull, stop crapping over Mike's topics like you guys don't need content for 2 hours. You mad today? Did Mike do something to your cereal? I'm going to defend Bull real quick. We've talked about the same draft stuff for 5 months. We swing and miss. Some are
Whoever
great,
that guy is, tell him to shut the hell up.
Salvatore is one of our favorite guys.
I love you, Salvatore.
Super chats every day.
Let me explain something to you for those who don't know, because everybody thinks they're a freaking genius. Nobody loves Mike more than I do.
That is true.
I think Mike does.
I thought I did.
And Jason loves him too. Mike does an incredible job. He is so talented. I really mean this. I'm not being sarcastic at all. And because Mike doesn't mind getting his balls busted, I bust his balls sometimes when I don't like a topic.
It's a two-way street.
And you bust my balls all the time, and we have that great relationship that neither one of us ever has gotten offended by anything the other has said. So it's all in love. Mike does mostly great topics. Once in a while, topics a stinker. I'm going to bust his balls. That's it.
And I just think Bull does a lot of good takes. I think sometimes he says some batshit crazy stuff.
Sometimes I say dopey things.
It happens. No overtime today because we have a 2-hour live show tonight.
Tonight,
we'll
baby.
at 8 o'clock. Live draft.
Let's go.
On the
Travis Hunter.
Cleveland Sports Show.
No matter what.